what a surprise. I'm all wet.
Adam Curry, John C. Dvorak.
It's Thursday, April 24th, 2014. Time again for your Gitmo Nation Media Assassination episode 611.
This is No Agenda.
Back live here at FEMA Region 6 in the Travis Heights hideout in Austin, Texas. Center of the police state. In the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And back in northern Silicon Valley, where I'm testing microphones, I'm John C. Dvorak.
It's Craigplot and Buzzkill in the morning.
Testing, 1, 2, 1, 2. I love this new microphone you have.
Thanks. It's custom.
And you know, we were testing. Didn't we test that before, like last week?
Privately.
Yeah, privately.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, wow, man, I got to upgrade my stuff. And I've been saving.
Well, you got a good mic. You got a great...
The mic is good, but I need to have a better road rig because I'm expecting travel.
Yeah.
And I have a new piece of gear came out.
Okay.
Which will make it possible to, I'm still working on the ultimate podcast device. My guy, by the way, flaked out. My builder. Yeah, exactly. So my builder flaked out, and he's like, I can't do it.
Why can't he do it?
I don't know. He has a job. He works at Amazon.
Oh, he's working for a living.
He has a job. I was paying him nothing. He has a young child, and I think he had
get him some points.
Maybe. Well, he was very nice. He said, I rescind everything. He said, I claim no ownership. I'll give you everything back. I just can't finish it. Okay. And actually, he said that 3 months ago, and I said, well, why don't you sleep on it, man? Why don't you think about it? I'll get back to you. Because, when you have a good builder, then you got it. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But there's this new piece of gear that came out, and I believe I can put together it's not going to be cheap. I had to save for it, but it will truly be an ultimate device that all you need to add to that to create a podcast equal to the best podcast in the universe is talent. As long as you got some talent. As long as you got some talent, then you're good to go. Hey,
wait a minute. Before you go on, leave me hanging. What does this thing do, or who makes it? What's the deal?
Well, no, whoa. I'm thinking this will be part of my giblet. Is I'm going to create an e-giblet, and then people can replicate it. I'm not just going to give all the secrets away. I don't think that's appropriate. Now let me say something here, John. It is good that we traveled over our break, and thank you everybody for allowing us to go. It was incredibly important that we got a little bit of rest. Although I'll say the place we were staying had Wi-Fi all the way down to the beach.
Wow.
And good Wi-Fi. None of this login crap. It was just you get a password and it worked everywhere.
So wait a minute.
Like
so you're
regular...
telling me that while actually lounging on the beach, drinking margaritas,
yes,
you could have actually been doing the podcast on the beach.
In fact, we said if we had more money, we could have stayed a few extra days, and I could have done the show from there. The bandwidth was sufficient. There was. People have to understand that doing the show on the road or anywhere really, it's not a matter of just the 2.5 or 3 hours that we do the show. The preparations for the show, if you don't have sufficient bandwidth, it takes hours longer. Maybe it can take a day longer, and you wind up cooped up. And if there's no Wi-Fi, then you're in the room sweating for hours, catching up on emails and everything. Instead of a nice, leisurely, the way I do it is the whole day I'm capturing information, stories, categorizing. And when you don't have real bandwidth, it's a problem. People don't realize what a difference that really makes. Even the difference between here and Los Angeles, where we were before, it's incredible. But that's not what I wanted to talk about regarding our travel. I want to talk about the police state that is the United States of America, because you really don't realize it until you've traveled abroad. And we haven't been away in, what's it been now, 6 months? And of course, I don't know. So we went to Mexico. I've never been to Mexico. I've had a huge personal issue with Mexico. I've always figured that, I'm going to get kidnapped and gang raped. No such luck.
Yeah, I noticed.
But let me tell you a little bit about the difference between Mexico and their police state and our police state upon return. So first we arrive in Mexico, and the customs agent, he's loving it. He's speaking Dutch, or some form of Dutch. He's a Mexican guy, and this is interesting. And Mickey and I are at the desk together, and he's really nice. And you're here on vacation. What you doing? And we're like, And he really had a couple of sentences there in Dutch. So where'd you learn that? He says, from pornographic movies. Okay. This is the customs guy. And actually, later, the thought crossed my mind that maybe he somehow thought we were Bobby Eden and her husband or something, and he had seen some of her movies. He's like, hey, these two blonde people from Holland. Yeah, there must be Bobby Eden and her husband.
Porn stars.
He had kind of like, yes, I learned from pornographic movies.
Wink,
wink. Wink, wink. Nudge, nudge. We were like, okay. But now, departure. Leaving Mexico on our way back home. Now, of course, you know that it is extremely likely that terrorists will try to hide bombs in their shoes, in their bags, in their laptops, in their battery packs to blow up aircraft. We flew United, American aircraft over the United States. You know this is fact.
Oh, they're falling out of the sky like
fact.
It's unbelievable.
So here is I don't know if you've been to Mexico recently. Here is the procedure at Cancun International Airport. No show me your papers, slave. Just, you got a ticket? All right, get in line. There's a sign that literally says, please keep your shoes on. This is very nice. Please do not take your laptop out of your bag. It's on the sign. And there's no slave scanner. It's just
you're on TSA?
No pre-check. There's no pre-check line. It's one line, and it moves really fast.
Okay.
And there's no one yelling at you. There's no one barking orders at you. The guy who was operating the bag scanner didn't even have a uniform on. He just had a shirt on, like a Hawaiian shirt. Huh. Yeah, it's just, and so please keep your shoes on. Just walk through the magnetometer. No slave scanner. Keep your laptops in the bag. Everything's great. Now we arrive at Houston International Airport. And I'd already been warned by one of our Austin-based producers who said, oh, man, I just want you to know, last time when he and his wife, I guess they were on their honeymoon, they came back from Cancun through Houston. And he said that the customs guys were shouting at people. They were making college girls cry in line, shouting stuff like, you get in line or I'll make sure you never get into the country. And so, of course, I didn't tell Nikki this because, as you know, she has a flag on her profile.
Right.
And she's always asked to go sit in the little fish tank. So we walk up to the Customs Border Patrol desk together. After someone has yelled at me, this line! Yeah, I'm American citizen. Yes, but she has a green card. This line! And I'm not kidding. This is how, and it's the Oriental guy. It's woo. Okay. So and I'm already a little tense about this. Yeah. And so the first thing the guy says is, "What are you, friends?" No, we're married. Oh. Well, how come your last name's not Curry? Why didn't you? What is this? Your culture? Is this your culture in your country where you don't change your last name? Is that your culture? This is the question she's getting. Now, what kind of is this your culture? Really, why is that? Why didn't you change your name? Now, Mickey has a huge problem with authority. Are you feeling it? So she says, well, it's 2014 and modern women don't necessarily have to change their name. Okay. Yeah, they want to see you in the office. And I said, well, can I go with her? No, you can go back there and sit on a chair down by baggage claim and wait for her. So I know you love this.
I do. I think this is great.
Well, so Mickey gave me the report, and I need to file an official complaint now.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Now wait for this. So she is escorted by, and she gets so mad that she and we have a connecting flight to Austin, by the way, in like an hour.
Oh, you're gonna miss that. This is what they love to do.
Well,
make you miss your connection.
Well, check it out. So she says, she's been through this before, and she's in Atlanta with a connecting flight. And I'm just going to describe the guy, because she said the guy who all of this story is about behind in the little fish tank was a big, fat Hispanic guy.
Okay.
I'm just describing it so you understand.
Yeah.
And
he hates whites.
And so his colleague, because he was the fattest Hispanic guy there, just so his colleagues who will be listening, they'll know that I'm coming for him. So she says, I have a connecting flight. You know what he says? As of right now, you have nothing. Can you believe that this is the police state of America has come to this? And Mickey speaks very good Spanish. And,
she does.
Oh yeah. She lived in the Canary Islands for a number of years.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. And so she's sitting there, and of course now they're making her wait extra long. As of right now, you have nothing, lady. Shut down. Sit up.
Shut up, slave.
And 2 flight attendants walk in, escorting someone else. And then in Spanish, this guy goes to his colleague, "Hey, which one are you gonna fuck?"
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
In Spanish.
Yeah, and Mickey, of course, understood.
That, Mickey, of course, being the whitest, blondest woman ever from Holland.
Yep.
So did she call him out?
No, she said that she considered it, but she really, we were tired. We really want to go home, get on the flight. This is the problem, you see. If you're going to make the stand, then you're going to make the choice. And she didn't want to make the choice without me.
She could have called him out and called his bluff, and he would have released her.
Well, I said, next time, you just do it. I'll miss the flight for that. Screw these guys. So this police state that we are now in, it is despicable. It makes me ashamed to be an American. And of course, this all happened when Customs Border Patrol changed from the State Department to Department of Homeland Security.
Right, run by the as we recall, we talked about that on the show, there was a huge amount of sexual harassment going on of the lesbian upper echelon harassing the men.
Yep. I mean, at this point, it's just, wow. It would have been easier for us to creep into the wheel well and drop out. And apparently that's possible. But I told Mickey, I said, next time this, because she walks out, first thing she says to me is, I hate this country. And she doesn't, but she does, and I hate it too. And I'm so sick and tired of what has happened.
Okay, it's the edge.
No. This is. Do you remember when Mickey got deported due to a clerical error on my part? But she was deported. They walked her all the way to the plane. It was a horrible experience.
Yeah. And
I called my uncle, who can speed dial 3 presidents. And he said, Adam, get a lawyer. I can't help you. Ever since this became Department of Homeland Security, it's a black box. Their job is to make your life impossible. They sell no for an answer. I'm sorry, I can't help you. And of course, if he can't help me because it would not be worth spending whatever remaining political credits he has for the rest of his life on that. Because of course he could have done something, but no, he made a quick decision. No way. I still want to hang out with some people before I'm dead. I want to hang out and do some cool stuff. So not spending his political capital on that. But what has happened since 9/11 in this country, and you can see it now everywhere. There was in the show notes. It makes no sense to play the audio because there's no voiceover or anything. There's a web page with 8 or 9 police department recruitment videos. Have you seen this? It was kind of viraling around.
No.
And, it's for different towns, and there's one in Texas, and there's one in Philadelphia. And these are 4, 5 to 8 minute videos. It's like Starsky and Hutch meets, Hill Street Blues meets CSI. they're dressed up in military garb. They're shooting. They're whacking people. They're tasing people. It's like, yeah, join us. Yeah. And people in general are not just regular Joes aren't smart. They fall for this crap. And we've become, a police state. And it's very upsetting. I think Texas is about the only place I still kind of feel comfortable. And I'm not even so sure about that. And then we get into the line for our flight from Houston to Austin, which is a 27-minute flight. And, it was, show me up.
Well, you got to get in another line?
You got to go through another security check. Oh, yeah. Oh, after you leave the customs area and a guy with an embroidered badge, show me your passport. Well, you really only have to show him technically, I happen to know this. You only have to show him your customs form. Passports! I was like, hey, could you please show me your passports? Yeah, okay. And he looks at you. He looks at the picture. He looks at me. He looks at Mickey. Looks at the picture. All right. He does that wave. All right, go on. I should just bust you. You're clearly smuggling something. You look evil. This is how I feel. And then, there you are. You're in the TSA. We've just had this wonderful experience where we could have been a Mexican shoe bomber, where we didn't. Please keep your shoes on. Please keep your laptop in your bag. And there it is. All right, everything out of your pockets. Make sure everything's out of your pockets. Take your shoes off. Take your laptops out. Laptops in a single bin. Nowhere to. Laptop, shoes out. No water, no makeup. Move along, people. And, of course, we both opt out. We didn't even want to do the can't raise my arms thing. We just opted out. We were just so mad.
There was a spinner? Are there one of the things?
Oh, yeah, a slave scanner, of course.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not going to go through that. Yeah. And they immediately call for female assist, and they let me wait for 20 minutes. Don't you love that? And the guys are looking at me. And
opt out!
It's like, male assist on 3! And everyone's like, yeah, whatever. And so somehow we've gotten to this point where you give someone a badge, even if it's embroidered, and they become asshole numero uno. And I'm sick and tired of it. And I'm going to continue. We have to say things now. And we need some, it's not even civil disobedience, but I've told Mickey, next time this happens, you make a scene. And then they come and get me. Or I'll bust in and I'm going to make a scene. This is bullshit. I'm sick and tired of it, and I won't. And if a TSA agent is yelling at me, I'll say, "Shut up! You shut the fuck up! Don't yell at me." We have to stop this idiocy. I'm not going to be intimidated by people like this anymore. And we have an election coming up, a midterm election. Vote everybody out. Everybody. If there's an incumbent, just get rid of him. I don't care. Just get rid of this person, regardless. People. You are slipping into your own abyss. And the whole point of the American project, if you will, the whole idea was that people, if left alone, could kind of take care of themselves and would work stuff out. And if we had a couple of simple rules to abide by, then everything would kind of, it would work. And it worked for a long time, really until 9/11 is really where, in my life, where it really just changed to such an idiotic degree. And we became this mean, authoritarian police state run by lawyers and bankers. And I'm sick and tired of it. This really made me mad. And how this is being propagated. This is there was a speech done by Lisa Monaco. And Lisa Monaco is essentially, she replaced John Brennan. John O. Brennan. Interesting, her name is Lisa O. Monaco, just to make it a little funnier. I think she's of Dutch descent. And if you look at her Wikipedia, it's very sparse. She went straight from college, summa cum laude, right into politics and right into, Council on Foreign Relations and all this stuff. But she's been an operative in counterterrorism for a long time. Not just counterterrorism, she's the Department of Justice. She's a lawyer, of course. And she did this speech at where was it? I think it was Harvard, maybe. Of course, probably got paid for it. Harvard Kennedy School, and there were a number of things that she said, including parents needing to keep an eye on their children because everyone's being radicalized. And luckily, there's no video of that, only a transcript. Luckily, she was on PBS with Gwen Ifill. I fill my heart with joy. And I want you to listen to what she is saying. The message essentially is, people of America, you need to keep an eye on that other guy. Because that other guy, particularly that other guy's kid, could become a bomber. An Al-Qaeda radicalized bomber. Like the Boston Bombers, which is why she was on the show. And they are we know that they are have already co-opted a lot of preachers, a lot of church leaders. They're all in on this, but also doctors, teachers, and ultimately, yes, parents. We all have to continuously be monitoring children and keep an eye on them and report your child to the authorities if he starts changing behavior because, the kid could clearly be radicalized and be the next Al-Qaeda bomber in the homeland.
Well, I think what we've learned is that there are limits to what the federal government can do in terms of identifying individuals who are being drawn to violence. We're not always going to be able to see the warning signs. The government isn't best positioned to see that necessarily all the time. In fact, we've crunched the data.
Should it be better?
We've crunched the data. Oh, John.
We've crunched what data?
Well, have no fear. In fact, we've crunched the data. So we know what we're talking about. The data, the science is in. We have crunched it.
Not always going to be able to see the warning signs. The government isn't best positioned to see that necessarily all the time. In fact, we've crunched the data.
Should it be better positioned to see it?
Well, I think we can be by working with the community, by engaging more.
Hold on. So instead of Eiffel asking that stupid question, why doesn't Eiffel say, what do you mean crunch the data? Crunched what data?
Because she's a hagiographer. It's not her job to actually, ask questions. No, you have to have a podcast for that.
In fact, we've crunched the data.
Should it be better positioned?
Shouldn't be better positioned to see it?
Well, I think we can be by working with the community, by engaging more. We've looked at this very hard.
We've crunched the data. We've looked at it very hard.
Looked at what?
How can you look at something very hard? Is that proper? Even what does that even mean?
Hard. Oh, I looked at it hard.
Oh, it's hard.
I'm looking at it.
It's so hard.
I'm looking at it.
It's hard.
Found from one study is that in 80% of the cases, community members saw warning signs, but they didn't see them as an indicator of a problem.
Now, in 80% of the cases, this is when someone commits a horrible, atrocious crime, the news goes and interviews the neighbors and say, oh, yeah, he was always a quiet guy, kept to himself, never noticed anything. Is that your data that you crunched?
Yeah, that's the data.
Lisa Monaco?
Whether it was a teacher hearing from a student that they were interested in traveling abroad to fight, whether it was a parent seeing a kid being more confrontational.
Ah! Has your kid been more confrontational recently, John?
I'm turning him into the police.
We have to learn together and educate community members and trusted community members who can come and intervene and point that usually youth.
Okay, so we need to trust. I'm really dissecting this because this is the core of a big problem. We need to trust community members to identify, to be able to go to a community member. So you should go to your preacher or your teacher or your doctor and say, little Johnny's been acting up a little bit. I think we should probably, take him downtown. Have someone talk to him a little bit and make sure he's not radicalized.
To a different path.
Is watching for signs, watching for behavior changes, is that a little passive in the face of what's sadly and repeatedly a growing problem here?
Well, it's not the only thing we're doing. We certainly need to make sure we as a community are poised to see those warning signs and see them as signs of trouble. But our law enforcement needs to, and has been, and in fact Boston is a great example of this, prepare for in advance.
Okay. So not only do we have to keep an eye on these clearly potential terrorists, we have to prepare. We got to be ready for when they strike those kids so we can kill them.
To understand how they're going to respond, how they're going to work together to respond to an act of violence.
You mentioned in your speech in Cambridge a comprehensive prevention model. Mm-hmm. What does that look like at the federal level, the state level, the local level?
Here we go. You're writing this down, John. Comprehensive prevention model. I think we should write this down. I think we need.
Why did she even say that?
Eiffel?
Go back it up again. I want to hear. Well, was that Eiffel?
Yeah. So she is responding.
Was she given a script?
Yeah, the script was that she got the briefing from the White House. It's the transcript of what Lisa Monaco said at Harvard.
Okay.
And so she's, it's like just before the show. Here's the transcript. Here are the questions you ask. Eiffel.
Comprehensive prevention model. Mm-hmm. What does that look like at the federal level, the state level, the local level?
What it really means is engaging with community members, and not just on the security side, whether it's educators, health professionals, religious leaders as well.
You hear that? Educators, healthcare.
Yeah, everyone. The cops are already in on this, so let's just go.
Of course.
Sharing best practices. What do we know?
Sharing best practices.
What is our expertise?
I don't know. Eiffel's he's not going to ask the question.
Professionals, religious leaders as well.
I can't get work.
Sharing best practices. What do we know? What is our expertise taught us about how somebody becomes radicalized? How can we share that information so people can understand to see these warning signs?
Is that a law enforcement response? I mean, the debate we always have when these things happen is whether it should be a law enforcement response, whether it's a debate about gun control, or whether it should be a mental health response or something else like that, or are you talking about a combination of all of these things?
All of them.
Of course. It's leading the witness. Or maybe you're talking about a combination of all these things, as I have written right here in front of me. This is despicable propaganda.
A debate about gun control, or whether it should be a mental health response or something else like that, or are you talking about a combination of all of these things?
All of them.
Or an emphasis on one or the other?
It can't be done in any one silo. It is in part a law enforcement response, because this is a public safety issue that we're talking about first and foremost, and law enforcement has a role to play, but so do teachers, and so do parents and families.
Yeah, exactly. And let me just show you a little bit of how this works. So you have to make people feel important in this police state. And I just got this from the TSA blog. Of course, we have this pre-check system. Pre-check is now being extended to all members of the U.S. military, including reservists, National Guard members, as well as Department of Defense and Coast Guard civilians.
So that's interesting.
Yeah, so and of course you get the TSA Pre allows participants to keep their shoes, belt, and light jacket on and leave laptops and 311 compliant liquids in their carry-on bags when going through airport security. And you should salute when you're allowed through. Salute! Well, hey, colleague! Hey, howdy, partner! You and me, we're on the inside. We're getting fuck those civilians. I'm sorry, my Tourette's is acting up today. I shouldn't do that.
I have to chime in.
Yeah.
So I went out of Oakland to Seattle and I always get TSA Pre for some reason, and I think it's easy enough that you could put it on any boarding pass. It's a little just that says something in the corner.
We know they have a randomizer. Did you see this?
I knew about the randomizer, but I didn't see it.
Well, Mickey and I walk into the premium line with our Coach loser tickets. Walk right up to the front. Of course, we're not stupid slaves. And the woman looks at us, and then she, name. Now you have to say your name. Have you noticed this? What's your name? Oh, yeah, this is new. What's your name? And you got John, Adam Curry. What? And then, what's your name? Miriam Hugendijk. What? And then they have a big tablet and then they swipe the tablet open, hit a button, and then it goes beep, boop, boop, beep, boop, boop, beep,
Oh,
boop,
I've
boop,
seen this.
and
Yes.
you get an arrow left or an arrow
exactly.
a big green arrow left or a big green arrow right. And so the immigrant with the green card that's Mickey, my wife, gets to go through pre-check. I get sent around to go through the loser line.
That's funny.
Randomizer.
Yeah, that didn't have that at either of these airports.
So
but
sorry.
anyway, they had at Oakland. I went through pre, and it was like the lines were getting longer. And then the way back, I didn't get a pre, so I had to go to the regular lines. And I think they've got personally, I believe they've got slow. The pre line was getting bigger.
Oh yeah,
they had
it's going to
two
be
channels for pre.
Yeah.
I'm now convinced that they're going through slowdown, which is a technique used by unions when they're upset with a company.
Yeah.
To slow down the regular line. And I was there 2 hours early because of the nature of the way I got to the Seattle airport, so I didn't care. And so they slowed down the line, and it was going notoriously slow.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's to get, because the pre thing, you have to sign up for it, costs $100, but I think it's just a way to gouge the paying customers. And once they get too many pre-lines, somebody will get through it with a bomb or some phony thing. They'll set something up. And then, we can't have this anymore. And they've taken everyone's money.
Right.
For this pre thing.
Oh, yeah.
And also it's,
but not if you're not if you're a Coast Guard civilian. Just salute on your way in. Ready to go. Hey!
Everybody says that you should salute each other.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying you should do. Just
anyway,
salute.
so
in fact, I'm gonna start doing that to all people in uniform at airports. I'm just gonna salute them and see if they salute back. I'll bet you they all do. Stupid idiots.
Of them do.
And I'm just gonna say, soldier. I got salute and go, soldier. like I'm a 5-star general. In fact, I'm gonna get me some of those epaulets and I'm with stars on it.
Yeah, as long as you're not. Yeah, you can probably do. You can go so far without before you say, "Well, at my company, I'm a 5-star."
No, well, I have a pilot shirt with 4 bars. I'm allowed to wear that.
Yeah, there you go. Wear that.
Yeah, I'm a pilot. I'm allowed to wear a captain shirt. I'm gonna wear that through TS, and I'm gonna salute everybody. Hey, how you doing?
Anyway, so there's this guy. There's one of these guys yelling and screaming at everybody coming through the line, but it was a magnetometer only. They had the other thing out of service, so I didn't have to deal with that.
Right, that's nice.
But they were pushing everyone through, and then they hit. If you got a red X, give me the red X. Give me if you have a boarding pass with a red X. Oh. And the guy, here's the scene. The guy's yelling about this red X. I never heard of this, and he is on the other side of the magnetometer, collecting anyone with a red X on their boarding pass. So what do you think the red X might be for?
You're a terrorist?
No. The red X allows you to go through the magnetometer with your shoes on.
Oh.
But you don't find that out
until you've gone through.
Yeah.
Well, this
is like Russia.
I don't know any of this. Do they have one with a yellow star by any chance? That would be.
This is like Russia.
I'd like to wear that one.
It's like you can't do this right. If you know about the red X, you would keep your shoes on in the first place. I guess maybe they tell you this someplace else, and then you come with your shoes on. The guy yells at you, and you show, I got a red X. Oh, okay. I mean, I don't know. It's idiotic.
I'm also, when I salute, I'm going, hoorah! Hoorah! Like I'm a Marine.
Hoorah!
Hoorah! I'm just going to, I bet you these people will fall for it. And I guarantee if I'm just going to do that. I'm just going to walk to the front of the line. It was also on our way back.
Yeah, you can get to the front.
Boarding. And of course, but we had upgraded to Economy Plus, which they promptly screwed up, and we were not sitting together, and we were anything but Economy Plus, even though we paid for it. And then I don't want to get in. I'm tired of fighting with idiots. If it's a short flight, but so now we're boarding group 4. And, so we're waiting and everyone's going through and, then no one's moving. And so from what we presume is group 3, and then we walk ahead and this is group 4. I'm doing 3. You're group 4. I'm doing 3. And this is the boarding agent. Who also, and you put a uniform on an American. I hate to say it. You put a uniform on an American and they become an asshole. And not necessarily when they're out there fighting for our freedom or, I don't know, protecting the poppies. and dying because you've been brainwashed into that's what you're supposed to do. Now, luckily, there's lots of things we can do, and there is thank goodness, but we are pushing back a little bit on the hubris of the police state of America. And I'm really, you can tell, I'm really upset now. It reminded me how stupid this is. And this customs thing happened in Texas. I mean, these guys, who are these yahoos? I'm coming for you, you fat idiot. I'm coming for you. I'm going to find out who you are. I am. I'm going to make shit about this. So luckily, this happens in New York.
Presumably, it seemed like a good idea at the time. A chance for law-abiding citizens here to demonstrate that they not only love New York, but its police department as well. The photo, published as a guide, presented a tableau of civic harmony, with a smiling citizen embracing two smiling cops. But the social hashtag MyNYPD quickly turned into a bash tag. Many of the pictures catalogued incidents of alleged police brutality. An officer charging a group of protesters, a man being pushed down on a car bonnet by the police. What was intended as a campaign to show the positive face of the NYPD instead revealed an uglier side.
Yeah, I thought this is, if you look at Twitter right now, this is great.
No, I've been following this. It's hilarious. And there's a couple of things that are interesting to me I think we're talking about. One is, hubris is the right word. And this is very reminiscent, and you've had this experience where somebody says, I'm going to hire you guys, and here's what I want you to do. I want you to make a viral video. And they literally think that you make a viral video. They don't know that a video goes viral. You can't make a viral video.
Yeah, no. In fact, there are RFPs out there in the advertising world for someone to produce a viral video.
Yeah, there are. So they don't understand the basics. And so the cops, or it was actually, I know it wasn't the cops. It was some idiot in the PR department at the police department.
Well, you know who?
Or City Hall.
Well, let me
thought this was a great idea because it's social.
Well, listen, who just went to the New York Police Department as the media guy who knows everything?
Andy Carvin?
Oh, I wish. No, John Miller from CBS.
Well, that's right, John Miller.
I'm dimes to dollars, which is about all we do these days. I'm going to say that this was his idea.
Oh, I find that hard that he's that stupid. Well, I believe this was some 20-something out of school.
Let me see if I can find
dummy that was...
Well, someone bought into it. I mean, obviously, Bratton or whoever bought into it. Like, yes. I mean, if you look at
that's what the kids are doing.
If you look at the press conference, he said, you've just been tweeted. Or, it kind of did like a parry.
Right, twittered. Been tweetered. On the tweeter.
Do I have that somewhere? Yeah, here. This is what Perry said exactly. Is this kind
And you can always follow me on Twitter.
Yeah, on Twitter. Add on Twitter. Let me see. John Miller.
Miller's not the guy who is.
I don't know.
He would be so naive to do something like that. This is a dummy that came up with this idea.
Yeah. Well, somebody has to get fired.
I can almost visualize what the dummy looks like and his or her, which I believe it probably is a woman, age, because there's an extreme amount of naivete involved in this.
Yeah.
Although, at the same time, the younger people would be aware of the craziness that can go on, and it might have been just someone that's new to this. I mean, it reminds me of a PR woman I know who was just kind of out. She was an executive at one of these big giant agencies. Mm-hmm. And she was working at a lot of different places. I'm not going to tell you all of them because then you figure out who it is. But then she decided, like just a few years ago, to get involved in social.
Social, yeah. I hear that social thing. It's all the rage.
And it was just completely, she was like, had no clue as to the nature of this beast. And which reminds me, I know you're not going to like this, but since you're on a rant, I think I'm allowed to do this now. I have just the best part of the clip.
Hey, why are your clips in uppercase? Did someone else do your clips, or are you now? Is it gotten to the? Are you at that age where you just do everything uppercase?
You know, if you look at the Portland, see Portland, you can see where it happened.
You're beyond the age of all caps. You're just out of control now. Yes, the Portland is the P is not capitalized, and the rest Ortland is capitalized. Very good. Is that the clip we're playing?
No, we're playing the excerpt that's deep into the whole. I'm not playing this whole song.
Oh no! Oh no!
We're playing the rap and the ending of the song. I want to preface this.
No. I don't think I can.
You can go on for a half an hour bitching about.
Yes. Okay.
Hold on. Let me preface this properly. So I'm watching episode 3 of Silicon Valley.
Yeah, I was very disappointed by 2. 2 was worse than 1 for me.
3 is worse than 2.
So it's shit.
No, here's what it is. This clip shows you what the problem is.
Because Silicon Valley is stupid by itself. You can't even make a parody of it. You
can't make a parody of the idiocy of Silicon Valley. This was taken from the Worldwide Social Networking Conference. One of the guys who organized it and I guess his girlfriend were singing this song, and he had to come out about 2/3 of the way through the song and begin a rap. Which then she finishes up with she reprises the song at the end, and then he goes woo at the end, and you listen to this and you say to yourself, no, you can't parody this. These people are completely nuts.
Now, I want to say that John and I rarely speak or send mail to each other, and when we do, it's usually dumb. And, of course, I had already seen this. I had not watched the whole thing. I had to turn it off after 30 seconds. And, of course, you had watched the whole thing. And the rap at the end, which we're about to hear, is indeed just glorious.
Hey, now, y'all, can we just get real? Do we really care about our fans, or is this just another deal? Woo! Said another way that we lost our way? Social's about the people, remember? We are people. Do we really need another like, fan, or share? Do we need another post to show up everywhere? I hope as we scatter that we never forget that our posts live forever, even when we go to bed.
So connect with me, let's have some fun. Let's show the world how this gets done.
Woo! Let's get social! I know the song.
Social media.
Woo! Let's get social! Social media. The best part is it's catchy. No, I can. It's a singer. It's like a Britney Spears. 1, 2, social. Let's get social. Let's get social media. Yes, everybody, brought to you by...
Give it up, Mary McCoy.
Give it up. Woo! In the house. Bitches. Yeah.
Well, if you weren't stepping all over it, you would have heard that guy singing in the background.
I heard him. No, believe me.
Ludicrous.
The mix was perfect. Believe me.
Anyway,
when you hear the mix...
That is like that kind of... That woman can't sing on key. He's an idiot. A bald guy,
and he put on a hat and sunglasses. A beret. Because that's what all the rappers are wearing, I hear.
Yeah, so he comes out a bald guy, and he puts on a beret and does this horrible whatever presentation.
But you are right, John. You nail it. You are absolutely right. The Silicon Valley, it's not funny because these guys you cannot parody stupidity it's already dumb and laugh-worthy.
Yeah.
I was watching, you weren't on it, and so I missed it when last night, or yesterday, after dinner, before I continued my prepping, I watched This Week in Tech, which I hadn't watched because you weren't on, and I'm not going to watch it on vacation. And there's this woman on. Oh, what's her name now? She works for PC Magazine.
Oh, Jill Duffy.
Jill. What's her last name? Duffy. Jill Duffy. And at a certain point, she's like, "Hey, what's all this Coachella thing I hear about? What is that? Is that like the new music thing that the kids are into?"
I didn't know that she did that.
Get off the show, lady, with your red hair. She's got like half her hair is red on top and the back. You're a poser, woman. What is this Coachella I hear all the kids? Is that like Burning Man?
Are you sure that she wasn't just putting it?
No. It was no, and of course, she's a woman. She's a vagina. So all the men on the show are like, "Oh, honey, let me tell you how." Whoa, yeah, let me tell you, because the men on the show are morons.
Hey, you on the show.
Yeah, no. Well, you need to get on the show. Even it out. We need some testosterone. But the good kind that put women down in their place when they're stupid. So it's
terrible.
I can't I can't help myself today. but seriously, it's like
I watched a little bit of that. I couldn't watch much of that show, but I watched a little bit of her. I didn't hear this part. That was embarrassing. But I was wondering who had coached her, because she would look, when you do that show, you're really not, you don't spend your time talking to the camera. It's not a talking to the camera show.
Oh, good point. She keeps looking at the camera. Too. Oh, yes. Good point. Looking straight into the lens.
Yeah, she's, instead of talking, on these shows, you talk to your host. The host says something, you say, yeah, and you talk to the person like a normal person. You don't say, well, Leo, and then you turn to the camera and start giving your spiel. You don't do that. It looks weird, for one thing, because nobody does it.
So she did that at one point, and I
did it all the time.
And I am very strange. I'm a strange man. I'm going to say it right up front. And of course, I noticed this. I'm a television professional all my life. And the only thing I could think of is, what would it be like to French kiss her? Is that weird? Because she has no lips. She's got a pointy nose, and her mouth kind of flows into her chin. I don't know. It was just like, I wonder what it'd be like to French kiss her. And I was like, then I just weirded myself out, and I had to turn it off.
You weirded out the audience just now.
I know.
Are you watching somebody talking about Coachella, and you're thinking about kissing her?
No. The Coachella thing made me mad. Yeah, it just made me mad. And just like, people talk about something that people care about. But anyway,
I think it's a good moment.
Okay, so I do want to finalize just by saying two things, and then we should thank some of our producers. That you are being played by this, and this will fold into this Bundyville thing. This rancher.
Bundy.
All right.
Yeah.
So this rancher. This is people. You are being played out, and I'm looking at you, InfoWars, who are these are agents of change. These are provocateurs to take a very unimportant issue and turn it into, we're going to kick the government's ass. Now, of course, the population of the United States is armed in order to protect from enemies from outside and within, but you're being set up. That was, if I've seen anything, the way that was hyped, the way that was reported on, but particularly the alternative media with very little factual information, that was a setup. And you're being set up to pull a trigger one day, and we're all going to regret this. Now, I'm the first to say, I look at the video and I see a bunch of a-hole federales coming in, tasing people. Of course this is wrong. If it's no more or less wrong, then, in fact, let me just play this little clip, because I do want to say something about this that people don't understand. This is Chris Hayes on MSNBC talking to Assembly...
What? You have a Chris Hayes clip?
Well, he's talking to Assemblywoman Michelle Fiore, who is she's either in on it or she's being misused. But there's something she says here that I'd like to point out, that you don't need this Bundyville thing to understand what has been going on in the United States for a long time.
Questioning the BLM, and I'm also going to request either a resignation or termination of the person that had ordered this to be done.
But that's a distinct question. I mean, I understand your point. You think that the way that the law has been enforced, the BLM has been heavy-handed. That's a distinct question from lines of legal authority. I'm just asking you a simple yes or no question. Do you recognize the authority of the federal government?
Oh, I recognize the authority that they believe that they have. I just question it.
So you agree with Cliven Bundy, the federal government does not have authority over the land, does not have authority over the taxpayers of Nevada?
No. Chris, don't put words in my mouth. I'm not saying I agree with Cliven Bundy. What I'm saying is the way this was handled is really suspicious. When in the heck do we send our federal government with arms to collect a bill?
Okay, this is what I want to respond to. Whoa, what's happening here? The federal agents of the Internal Revenue Service came to collect a bill from me with their hands on their weapons at a place of my work. So if you think this is bad, that some Bureau of Land Management yahoos who are all hyped up and jacked up with their uniforms on and their dogs and their tasers, you think that's bad? Try not paying your taxes. They came to my office, and this is 8 years ago, with their hands on their guns. We've been looking for you. Where you been? Have you ever tried Google? We've been looking for you. And I'm still, I'm uncreditworthy because of that, even though everything was cleared up eventually. But they had their hands on their gun. IRS agents, armed IRS agents, yeah, they come to collect. And just to make it worse, there's now a bill in Congress, and they're going to try it once again. The bill would allow third-party commercial companies to go collect tax money.
Oh no, they're giving that out. That's what they do with the parking meters in San Francisco. So if you get if the meter's no good and you get a ticket, there's nothing you can do about it. And this is what they've done with the prisons. Mm-hmm. Corrections Corporation of America, one of the many operations that run private prisons, and so they have lobbyists to make more laws to get those prisons filled so they can make more money. Yeah, that sort of thing. This privatization is completely run amok. And they get away, and why the public doesn't say, hey, wait a minute, this is not, some private company shouldn't be running the prisons.
Well, these are the people you need to vote out of office. You need to vote.
Nobody will do it. Oh, their guy's okay. Everybody else is bad, but their guy's okay. We're doomed if we don't just vote everyone out.
I'm thinking Panama. Yeah. Can you have a gun in Panama? Can you be armed?
You better look it up.
I'm going to. This is just not okay. Anyway.
I had a guy, an IRS guy, I think about 2 years ago. I got a guy get a call on the phone. This is so-and-so of the IRS. When are you going to pay your, $4,500? So what? What you owe us $4,500? We need payment immediately. So what are you talking about? And he starts reading me the Riot Act, and I'm saying, we pay our taxes. I don't know. And a 45, this is an offbeat number that just came out of the blue. Have you ever talked to us before? We've been sending you notices, blah, blah, blah. He goes on and on and on. And so then I listening to him, I said, you got the wrong guy. That's what I said. Yeah. And he says, no, you're John Dvorak. I said, yeah, I'm John Dvorak.
Hold on. I'm John C. Caps Lock Dvorak.
I did. I just said, you said, you're John Dvorak. I said, yeah. And he says, yeah, and you live in Kansas City. And I said,
no.
This area code's not in Kansas City. I started getting snarky.
Right.
What's my social security number? And then he reads off some alien. I should have written it down, by the way. I could have made hay with that. Yeah. But he gave me some alien social security number. I said, that's not me. I said, and I gave him my number. I said, I don't know why you're calling me. This is not even in Kansas. I'm not even in Kansas City. He says, oh. And he
hangs up.
I knew who it was. He was there was a lot of, I keep track of all the John Dvoraks. Because I think at the beginning he says, you're a writer, right?
Oh, that's the climate guy.
No, the climate guy's another one. There was a reporter for the Kansas City Star, like a literal old-fashioned reporter named John Dvorak. And there's a metallurgist. There's a bunch of them. And for some unknown reason. And the guy backed off and he apologized, which I thought was nice. At least he did that instead of just hang up on me. But it seems to me that with this, that they could do, like you said, use Google.
Yeah.
I mean, why were they calling this? Why did they even get this number?
Well, because, it's you're a slave and you need to report for duty. My problems with I have the no credit worthiness at all. And that's because this lien that took place, and it took me a year to get rid of it and a lot of money in legal fees. And at the end of the day, I owed them nothing. I just hadn't filled out the forms, or my, at the time, accountant hadn't, because you still have to file if you don't live in America. And then when I started showing up on payroll at the company in California, that's when they said, hey, this guy's scamming us. And but now if you pull my credit report, you'll see There's an Adam Curry in Oklahoma. That, I think, is the guy that got me barred from entering the country for 3 years.
I thought the guy was in North Dakota.
No, I think that was Oklahoma. There's an Adam Curry in upstate New York. There's an Adam Curry in Florida. That guy's a douchebag. That guy gets me in a lot of trouble.
What does he do?
He's skirting on rent and all kinds of stuff, and it always shows up. I'm like, I'm lost. I've opted out of the system. See, I just don't participate. I'll rent until I'm dead. I won't have the American dream of owning a home, being indebted and enslaved. You know, I'll be a renter until I'm dead, or until I'm sleeping on the street. And honestly, we're 3 shows away from that. Anyway, I do want to thank you for your courage, John C. Dvorak, and say in the morning to you, J. Caps Lock Dvorak.
Oh, in the morning to you, Adam Curry. In the morning to all ships at sea, boots on the ground, feet in the air, subs in the water, all the dames and knights out there.
And in the morning to everyone in the chat room, noagendastream.com, noagendachat.net. Good to have you all back. And people were actually in the chat room during our outstanding clip show that Ramsey put together for us. Clip Show 3 was the title of it. And I checked in, and it's the only thing wrong. People were very surprised. The clip show started because it was streamed live as well. Yeah. It started on time. So people were thrown off by that. Yeah.
What's the deal?
Hey, man.
On time.
What's up with that?
The podcast comes off on time. Makes no sense.
And thanks to a comic strip blogger who created a fun piece of artwork that we use for the album art, and always looking forward to what we can find for our album art for this episode, 611 at noagendaartgenerator.com. And we have a combination of donations for today, for people who donated for 610. And, of course, this was kind of the catch-up show. And it worked. A lot of people went, I finally caught up. And, I'd already donated. And I was like, I was caught up with my episodes. And it turns out, it was a clip show. But they still liked it.
Yeah, people just like the show.
Yeah.
Well, that's because it's valuable, even though with the rants and the rest. Although I love your rants. Your TSA material is timeless. It's beautiful.
Well, that's the sad part. Is it's timeless.
Because Mickey's with a green card complicates things in ways that no other person can possibly relate to.
Well, and luckily Mickey, and you can just see her freaking out. You can just see her getting ready to slug some guy.
Yeah, no, and she could knock someone on their ass.
Oh yeah, with a kick to the head
or elsewhere. Okay, well, we do have some people to thank for show 610 and 611, and they will be given double producers credit. They'll be given credit for both shows.
Oh, so I'm going back and putting... No.
On this show, you're going to put executive producer for show 610/611.
Oh, but I don't mind. It's easy for me to go back and also put
either we can't separate them out. Let's just put it
okay. All right.
And I promised them all double credits in the newsletter. If you read the newsletter, I added. Oh, you didn't read it.
Did you get the other sad picture we sent?
I was going to use that picture, and then
Mickey was disappointed. She thought that was well worth it.
It was a good picture. I'll put it in the next newsletter just to show, but because it was well done, but it's still too sunny. I mean, it's like,
but that was literally next to our room.
What, the vending machine?
That was not a vending machine.
What was it?
John,
you're eating Oreos.
I'm eating an Oreo in ruins, like in a doorway it was in ruins.
Oh,
was the Oreos that was the problem?
No, it wasn't no, it was still, I don't know. I'll look at it again and we'll see. Now it's a point of controversy.
Oreos are just as addictive as cocaine.
I mean, it's Oreos, man. Come on. Oh, all right. Well,
a joke in there I didn't get. What an idiot. Uh-huh. Okay. Anyway, let's thank a few people. We got too many. We don't never have too many to thank, but we have a lot to be fooling around. Arthur Kessler in Logan, Utah came in with $1,000 in some sort of e-check, which took forever to cash. And but he had no real comments to make. We're giving him instant night, no alcohol, and keep on revealing all things is all he says.
Okay, well, thank you, Arthur, and we appreciate
short
that.
note is negated by Michael Leary in Oslo, Norway.
Question: if you do an e-check, does someone get a vig, or do we get all the money?
No, it's the same. It's as though they just went straight in. It's as far as I can tell.
Oh, okay, good.
I don't know. $750. I have to look in the numbers. All I know is that we paid a lot of money in fees to PayPal, and checks are worth getting. $751 from Michael Leary in Norway. I'm donating $751 for your joint broadcasting magnificence. This should take me to the sword being laid upon the shoulder. Extra dollars for John so he can add to his impecunious collection for another weird musical instrument. How about a swazzle, JCD?
Swazzle.
Yes, there is such an instrument. Clue, Punch and Judy. Assuming I'm awarded a knighthood, the suggested title is Sir Michael of Hemlock. Whilst here, I feel compelled to offer the following sentiment to those non-contributors who only take. I'm a 70-year-old geezer who's done a thing or two, so I'll say this. In this life, you only get what you put in. So you, stop being such a cheap bastard and pony up. I'd like to request a karma call-out specifically for those aforementioned freeloaders in hope this causes them to meditate and reflect on their ways and see the depth of the flaw that lurks beneath. For those who continue to freeload and sneer, to the effing head, who needs you in the boat anyway? Oh, and Adam, get on with that effing book, please. The audio book's fine, in fact, better. It's a terrific job you boys are doing. And remember, you could be as well saving souls among us wretches. You could well be saving souls among us wretches.
But first of all, Michael, you need to get your ham license. You'd be perfect for the ham band.
Mm-hmm.
This is the kind of guy I talk to.
Already, yeah.
I took my rig, by the way, and I did some QSOs.
You know there's different laws in Mexico.
Oh, I know. I was completely breaking all laws.
Oh, okay. As long as you know.
But I told people, I was actually on a pier, so I'm like, yeah, I'm in the Gulf of Mexico. I'm not really in Mexico.
Anyway, so he says he's an ex-Brit in Oslo. P.S. Most facts usually turn out to be lies waiting to be found out.
I'm going to give this guy some karma. He needs some of that.
Definitely.
Sure, thank you.
You've got karma.
Thank you, Michael. And we will continue our joint broadcasting magnificence.
Yes, magnificence indeed. Barry Hanna sent a check in for $500, and he's in Okotoks, Alberta, Canada, where all the money is and the shale oil. And he's got, I have to say, you can't see this, but I have to say he has got a magnificent signature.
Oh.
And I don't say that ever.
No, I have not heard you say that.
Yeah, he's got a short note, which is mostly accounting. He's actually contributed like a total of $3,500.
What?
So far.
Wow.
He says, just a short note.
Can I just say something about that?
Yeah.
I feel anything over $20 should not be called bucks.
Okay.
Does this ever bother you when someone, it's only $100? I'm like, that's a lot of money. 100. Is that just me? It's just me, I guess. Huh?
Yeah, it is just you.
Okay.
He's been a listener since show 1. He's enjoyed every one. I find that hard to believe.
Well, I don't know.
Show 3 was really mediocre. I have donated several times, but my donations have been overlooked. I blame myself for this, of course, and I should have notified you sooner. And he's up to, so he's getting
he's
his
a baron.
Knight.
Isn't he a baron by now?
He's a baron, but he's been a knight, so he's a black knight baron.
A black baron?
Well, we don't do black barons.
Why not?
No, I don't know. Just don't. I'll take it up with the peerage committee. I think he can optionally call himself a black baron if he wants. But anyway, so we overlooked him, and there he is.
But black baron, bam-a-lam.
Ryan Beck in Rancho Cucamonga.
Rancho Cucamonga.
34567, my favorite donation. Thanks for No Agenda, the best podcast in the universe. All of us listeners truly appreciate your informative and entertaining, unbiased coverage that can't be found anywhere else. I would like to promote my friend Ron Boyd's outstanding No Agenda Karma Generator and No Agenda album art in the iTunes store.
Yeah, he's got the book. He's got the album art book.
Yeah. Please give yourself some karma and throw in a Pelosi jobs for good measure.
All right.
Jobs, and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Onward. Nick Ismendi in Waterford, Michigan. 33333. Hopefully I got this in for show 611, indeed. I had to think about it until the last minute. Being a college student at Kettering University,
wow.
The renamed General Motors Institute in Flint, Michigan, I don't really have a lot of money to part with. I guess I'll finish the term eating nothing but mac and cheese.
This is not his whole note.
That's all I got.
Oh, no. He sent a drunk donation.
He did?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I don't have it.
Oh, I have it. Hold on. It was actually well worth it. That's why. No, how does this happen? In fact, he sent his...
Let me see if I have it. I would look it up.
He sent his message like 5 times.
He's been, well...
yeah, hold on. I have it. Yeah, no, I have it. Hold on a second. If I go in here... Oh, I have it. What's his name? Nick? Yeah, hold on. Nick. Here we go. I love mutt. Okay, nothing but mac and cheese. And then it says, don't read on the show. Yeah, I got it. But then, drunk note. I'm drunk. Can I do the drunk?
Oh, yeah. No, I allow everyone to do
I'm drunk. This is a drunk donation to the No Agenda show. Well, not really, but I'm fucking wasted. I'm at Kettering University. Kettering is a slave training school. We have co-ops at really companies like GM, some other bullshit, and Beaumont Health System. We work for 3 months, then we go to school for 3 months, and we do 16 to 20 credited hours per semester. This is compared to as a usual school, which does 12 credit hours. A lot of people are balding the school because of the stress. We get STEM, the ass. In my department, the CS department, they, as in the student body, dislike the arts and would like less. Because we have to take liberals. My econ professor is an African tribesman and he is badass. Oh, gotta go. Love, Nick. Perfect, Nick. Thank you.
That was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't have anything from him, at least not with that email address. And Riley Kimball in Santan Valley, Arizona, 33333. I have a note from Riley. I believe this is it. Was this it? Yeah. I'm making sure it doesn't say, well, it's too late now anyway. 73's ITM, and thank you for your courage. I'm donating today after listening to John's rant on why the NA show is important and why I need to do my part. Show 608 after the second donation segment. I think it's because we had a bad day. I'm really not sure what I would do if the NA show went away. There is too much nonsense out there in the news. It's almost impossible to get things straight or figure out what is really important. You guys are flat out amazing, and you make it look easy when it really is not. I'm choosing to donate today due to the extreme value I receive from listening to your show.
Wow, thank you.
I have found a certain peace of mind after listening to the NA show, and it's high time that I donated to your value for value model. I have recently found gainful employment and like to share my newfound wealth with you two.
Nice.
Please give me a de-douching if I fit the criteria. I would also like to call out Brandon Mentz, M-E-N-C. Brandon, I don't know where I got Merck. Brandon Mentz, who is a founding producer but has transitioned into a douchebag. Douchebag. He is the CTO of a media tech company, so we all know he can afford to donate. He hit me in the mouth about a year ago, and I have been an avid listener ever since. We both continue to propagate the formula, but for now, I'm the only one donating, and I will be donating more to achieve knighthood. May I please have two to the head, George Clooney as the spy, WT7, Shut Up Slave, and Karma. It would be an honor if John would solo over these clips with his harmonica.
Hold on a second. Two to the head, George Clooney is a spy, WTC7, and then?
Shut Up, Slave, and Karma.
Okay.
George Clooney is a spy. WTC7 won't go away.
Shut up, slave.
You've got karma.
I think we nailed it. Excellent job, John. You've got talent.
He also sent a picture, and he says, this is on every phone at my work, and it says, it's a sticker on every phone. It says, in case of emergency, dial 33.
Really? Wow. Yeah. That's pretty hard.
That's a magic number.
Wow.
All right. Anonymous from Aurora, Colorado, sent in a note. 33333, which I will have to read.
I was at the movie theater.
Sorry?
Bad joke.
Yeah, it's in the same area. This is the fourth time I've contributed monetarily to the show. I'm still hesitant and unwilling to allow my identity to be revealed on the show.
Okay.
So please keep my name anonymous on the show. I get the feeling that the two of you tire of this insistence.
Not at all.
But the conservatives in HR and security always frown upon my involvement in any public endeavor.
No, we're fine with that. That's cool.
As I have had to report all contact with foreign nationals. Where's this guy work? It's in Aurora. And they keep, I think he's FBI or something. And they keep a very close watch on my website and probably all my social media pronouncements. I would probably they'd probably blow a gasket if my name was included in the rolls as if they listen to your controversial show. It's not controversial.
Controversial?
No, we're not a controversial show. We do news deconstruction. It's pretty straightforward.
Also, if someone sent me this, if you want to send us encrypted email, there's an open source project called Mailvelope, and it is a plugin for your browser, and they have it for Chrome, but luckily they have it for Firefox, and it'll work with Gmail, Yahoo, Outlook, and some other. It basically everything right in the browser. And I have to say, it's the first program I've seen that makes encryption easier. A lot.
Well, you're going to put that in the show notes.
Yeah, mailvelope.com. Mailvelope.
All right, let me finish this. This is a good note, so I want to read it.
Yep.
I believe in America. I believe in the Constitution. I believe in democracy for the people. In short, I'm another fan who works for the three-letter agency where suspicion, favoritism, and retribution rule the day.
Wow.
I know that the two of you aren't subversive or politically revolutionary. That's for sure.
What are we?
If I thought we're not subversive or politically revolutionary. No. I think the show is subversive because it reveals
submersive, maybe. I don't know about submersive.
If I thought you weren't actual patriots, I'd have ditched the show long ago. I would like to thank you once again for providing the citizens with a modicum of truth, a dose of the no-agenda point of view. Your unfiltered examination of socio-political memes, political shenanigans, and corporate doublespeak is top-notch. It is unique in today's slurry of shills, blowhards, and stooges.
And the only reason why is because of you. Not you, John, but because of you. If we did this any other way than having people support us directly, it wouldn't work. I woke up this morning, I heard NPR. It's one thing to say, this program is brought to you by the General Motors Corporation. But when they actually say, brought to you by the new Chevy, whatever brand,
Chevy Bravado.
Go test drive one today. That's an advertisement.
Yes, and then they gouge the public too. They're double dipping.
Yeah.
Actually triple dipping because they go after advertisers, or whatever you want to call it. They go after advertisers. They go after institutions of charitable institutions, foundations. And then the double dipping, and then they go for the public.
Tote bag and coffee mug and beer stein people.
The news in America is suffering a total sellout. The mainstream outlets of lies and propaganda are clearly biased in oh so many ways. If not for your twice weekly dose of reality, I'd find myself caught up in the fear-mongering, the pseudoscientific technobabble, and the pharma-corporate illusion that so many citizens take for reality. So here I am donating again. As I have said before, you must continue your work. It is vital to our nation's interests. And the American people deserve your third-tier comedy news network.
Proud members of the third-tier comedy podcast.
And then he does some accounting. He wants to be pseudonymous of the ADF.
You got it. You know what's so funny? Of the what?
Of the ADF. ADF being the Aerospace Data Facility in Aurora, Colorado.
Oh.
Some of your knowing alumni may recognize the ADF, but please don't spell it out for those who might be listening. Wink,
Good
wink.
work. Anyway. It is true, though. On vacation, I was trying to keep my mind off of stuff very hard. And this morning, I was still kind of stuck. I said to Mickey, can you believe that Jodie Foster married that dyke who was with Ellen DeGeneres? This must be just one of the Hollywood lesbian cabal.
Oh, they just pass her around?
That was basically what I was saying.
Your turn.
And Mickey gave me a look. She's like, I really hate you.
She knows you're right.
but she hated that I was gossiping like that. I mean, I hated myself for it. What am I doing?
Yeah. That's what I say. What are you doing?
I pass her around. Yeah, thank you.
You're spot on the money as usual.
She must be good at something. R.F. Ordu Ekatar. What do you think? Can you do better than that?
Well, it's on behalf of Stephen Marsh in Moscow, so I think we just leave it at that.
Okay, and it's a 321.80.
Looks like someone. Stephen Marsh. Who's Stephen Marsh? Do we know him?
He's in Moscow doing something. I don't know. This is another mysterious person. Geisha Liquor in Augsburg, Germany. 222. Dear John and Adam, please credit me as the Geisha Liquor.
Okay.
I'm listening for almost exactly 2 years, and I didn't donate even a single time, so please don't dedouche me yet. I'm a German staying in Tokyo for 1 year, and would be very glad if I could join the meetup next month. How can I get in touch with you? One more thing. You both appeared in a dream I had last week, and we're hanging out in Tokyo. If it isn't a good omen that John is going to show up spontaneously...
Hold on. Yes. Here we are.
I don't know what is. As for the jingles, please have someone knock at John's door in order to get him out of his cave and into a plane.
That's it?
Yeah.
Oh, into the plane to Tokyo. Okay, I get it.
Mr. D.C. Borak. Open up the door, Jebediah.
Nice.
Okay, off I go.
And by the way, you will be posting info. Of course, you're more than welcome. There's gonna be some fabulous 50th birthday celebration.
Can you imagine the kind of meetup you could have from all the people in Asia that if they could get there? It'd be fantastic.
Well, if Sir Mark if he publishes any info about it, he's told me that he's got this crazy ass party with nut jobs all over the place. It's going to be nuts.
Yeah, it sounds like a winner.
And I think if you just come to the door and say, "Hey, I'm Geisha Liquor," you're in. You're in. I'm Geisha Liquor. You're good to go.
Paul Tittel in Ajax, Ontario, $200. No note. I can't find anything. Maybe there's something. If we didn't do it, he can call us and get a hold of us. Sir Hank in Kew Gardens, New York, $200. Credit. Sir Hank, this donation should bring me to Barron.
Nice.
Counting cent. I would claim the protectorate of Kew Gardens in Forest Hills for his barony. Thank you for your courage.
Someone needs that, for sure.
And he needs some karma.
Of course. The Kew and the Forest.
You've got karma.
Kew Gardens.
And our last double associate executive producer for show 610 and 611 will be Andrew Kirby in Covington, Louisiana, $200. Please accept this meager donation. I emailed Adam about taking him out to dinner or on our way through Austin next Tuesday. If it doesn't work out, here's a donation. If it didn't work out, okay.
Yeah. And he emailed me and said, "Hey, we're here. Can we?" Yes. Yeah, but unfortunately we couldn't. I would have liked to.
Anyway, he said he would have given you this money in cash, but he didn't.
That's okay.
So here it is.
Thank you very much, Andrew. Next, it was by accident. He wound up here and he just gave it a shot. I didn't actually get the email until Wednesday morning, so it didn't work out. But thank you, and thank you very much for supporting the work. Courage and Kittens,
and that concludes the executive producers, associate executive producer. And remind people we do have another show on Sunday. We have to try to catch up, even though this is for 2 shows, actually. That's why it's so long. And Dvorak.org/NA, channeldvorak.com/NA, the NoAgendaShow.com and NoAgendaNation.com both have donate buttons. You can click on those as you pass through.
And remember, again, the only reason why we can bring you such outstanding, informative information gathering, bringing, reporting, broadcastinations is because you are supporting us. It's a very simple model.
Before we go to all the little stuff you're going to go off to, I think that reminder needs to be pounded home, and I've got an example. I had I'm doing this every few shows. I'm doing a retrospective of old clips from years ago. Here's where this is over a year old. This is a clip. The clip you can cue it up as Taco Bell.
Got it.
This is when we first discovered native advertising, before I think it was even coined, and we would start to spot it coming out. We saw it on the Fox show where they're all eating McDonald's,
right.
Big Macs.
Yeah.
This is ABC News.
World News or just news?
ABC World News.
Drive down any major thoroughfare in America, and it won't be long before you spot a Taco Bell. The fast food mega franchise known for its iconic talking Chihuahua commercials and forays into dishes as daring as they are delectable. In a country fueled by fast food reimaginations of classic cuisine, ABC's John Shiffman gets a first-hand look at an American company causing quite a stir.
They could be screaming for a boy band, but instead, they're screaming for, of all things, a taco.
Oh, yeah, and I remember we did a little back and forth about this, that this was probably because either there was a make good, someone had screwed something up in sales, or ad sales programming rotation, or they had just done a huge buy, and this was more likely, and this is part of it. Yeah, hey, it's John down here in sales. Listen, we've got a $5 million, can you count this? 5 with 6. We got a $5 million buy from Taco Bell. You know, that's the Pepsi Corporation. They have other brands as well. This is Taco Bell. We really, 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 really would appreciate it if you could kick off the sweep that they've bought with a little item about their new taco and how we could actually turn into a human interest story, because we've got this stock footage I sent over of girls going crazy, just like it's New Kids on the Block. You remember them? That's how hip we are here in the ad sales department.
I remember having this discussion. In fact, we did this little skit on it.
Yeah.
I am now more inclined to believe that this was a straight-out native advertising buy, as opposed to a combination deal.
Oh, you don't think it was just an add-on? You just think it was?
No, I think this was a straight-up early version of native advertising done straight up without any. Because I didn't see a lot of Taco Bell advertising on ABC necessarily, but I saw this. And this was only part one of it. This was about a 4-minute piece. It may have been on Nightline, but it was on ABC, whatever. And so I'm changing my opinion of what this was and how it came about.
All right.
Knowing what I know now.
Well, regardless, we don't do that. And quite honestly, we wouldn't last a week. Yeah. Let me just. Yeah, hello. Yeah, hey, Adam. It's you said the F word a couple times. Yeah, no, Taco Bell is pulling out, man. That's not how they want to address their demographic. By the way, John, before I end this all up, please, if I don't care what you do with your filters on your email, but I have 2 things to say. One, noagenda@Dvorak.org is broken. JCDvorak@Dvorak.org is broken.
No.
Well, then you've unbroken them.
No. Let me explain what happened.
No, wait. And I don't care what kind of filters you put on your system, but if the word FUCK is flagged by your email system as porn, then don't email me with that word in it, because when I reply to you, then it gets trapped.
Yeah, well, I don't think that should happen. But the other
no
thing...
No kidding.
Here's what's happened. Now, I've talked to Mark about this, who's my sysop. And he says that there's been something fishy going on with my aliases.
Yeah.
The alias file gets erased.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. Your alias file.
And so the alias file was gone, so you could only get a hold of me at john@Dvorak.org, because that's the real email. And then he put it back, and it got erased again. And he put it back. So you think maybe I should change my password because I could go in and he says it does not have the earmarks of a hacker. And so what he's done is he's written a script. So now when it gets erased, it gets put back in, and he thinks he might be able to figure out what's happened.
That's the way to do it. Let's not solve the problem. Let's just write a script that replaces it every time. But it was funny because one of our producers sent in an email about Dr. Oz. And how a producer from Dr. Oz had called a girlfriend of his and was trying to convince her to go on the show and say that she had gotten her nipples sunburned, even though she had gotten them sunburned in a tanning booth, but they wanted her to say that it was outside and she wouldn't do it. So he sent this email, and it got sent back because the word nipples is here. It says, message contains blacklisted porn string 550. Nipples.
Okay, I'll turn that off. That was just when I was
nipples.
dealing.
Really?
That's ridiculous.
Yes, nipples.
Yeah, because nipples is not necessarily. It's got nothing to do with porn ever.
No. So who made that? Just out of interest, what brilliant programmer made this?
I believe this is either Mark has some little program he's running, or it's part of Squirrel Mail's anti-spam filters. I'm not sure. I'll find out.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
All right.
That's ridiculous.
Anyway, thank you all very much.
Dvorak.org/NA.
And of course, we need to continue going out and doing the important work of propagating the formula.
Our formula is this. We go out, we hit people in the mouth.
Order. Shut up, slave.
Shut up, slave.
Well. Glenn Greenwald is in America.
Oh, yeah, I know. I thought he was afraid to come in. I guess they gave him the go-ahead.
He's so proud and happy of himself. He's
always proud and happy of himself.
He won a Pulitzer Prize and a Polk, and he is happy. He's happy. Well, that's it, Glenn Greenwald. That's it. That's your payoff, boy. Now, the way I understand his stance...
I thought he had to share the Pulitzer.
Yeah, he shares it with the Guardian. So he's part of the team.
Yeah, that's a team Pulitzer. This is the latest thing they've been doing.
Team Pulitzer.
They get all these journalists. Markov, a friend of mine at the Times, he's got... When he was at InfoWorld, I was the editor, and I promised that he would get a Pulitzer. So he got one. But he got it as part of a team, and I just think that cheapens it.
And do you then have to send an extra $100 to get your own copy of the trophy?
I have no idea. Probably.
Probably, right?
Yeah, that's the way it usually works.
Right. So he's...
I don't even know if it's a trophy. Is it a trophy or just a
I have no
certificate or what is it? Let's see.
No.
Let me look it up.
Oh, I'm sure there's some kind of plaque or something.
Should be a nice plaque. Here it is. It's Pulitzer Trophy. It's there's a bunch of different ones. It's a very weird looking thing.
Well,
people can look it up on their own.
I got news for you, John. We're never going to get one.
No,
not going to happen.
Possible.
Anyway, so they came in and Laura Poitras, she's in because she's getting ready to do the Snow Job movie, which she's doing for Skoll over there, the Inconvenient Truth guy. And there's a lot of interesting things going on at the same time, and I want to move over to Ed Snowden and our buddy over there. What's his name? That's him. But first, Glenn Greenwald. Now, it was my understanding that Edward Snowden had specifically chosen Laura Poitras, Barton Gellman, Glenn Greenwald, because it was the way he wanted the information to be presented through mainstream publications, and specifically not the New York Times, because they weren't trustworthy or whatever. I believe that this information belongs to us, to everybody. I'm okay. I go back and forth because I really have no idea what it is. So, a huge document dump probably wouldn't be productive. I like the idea that it's being vetted. I don't like necessarily the people who are vetting it. And I don't like the timeline of how they're doing this. And when I heard this little interview with Glenn, after I had to cut out the gloating part about how, and his phone started ringing and buzzing, and I won a Pulitzer Prize. I'm all wet. I left that out because it just makes me throw up in my mouth.
Put a time mark down.
Yes, sir. Okay, 141. Where's my pen? All right. When I heard this, I'm upset at what's going on, and I think that he is an a-hole.
And I believe you have a book coming out very soon, coming out in May, right?
I do. So that's one of the reasons why I intend to come back to the U.S. a lot. I think the material in the book, which includes a lot of new stories from the Snowden archive, has a lot of impact for the United States, and I want to be able to come back and talk to the people most affected by that story, which are Americans. And so that's...
So I thought the book was mostly going to be about the reporting so far, but you're saying it's also going to have new information from the document?
Yeah, there are stories stories that I felt from the beginning really needed the length of a book to be able to report and do justice to. So there's new documents, there's new revelations in the book that I think will help inform the debate even further.
This to me is disgusting. You're telling me that you have held things back so that you can enrich and infame yourself with new revelations that are important to the American people? That's not okay.
That's what he said.
Is there some journalistic thing I'm missing? This doesn't seem okay to me.
It's an interesting ethical situation that you bring up. I'm trying to decide what I would. Well, I would do that too, but that's me.
Yeah, but he's this is going to be a huge best-selling book.
Maybe.
He's been Mr. We're all about, we can't do a document dump because this is what my source wanted. Did your source want you to write a book and keep some of that for yourself, Gren? Is that what your source wanted? I find that hard to believe.
Yeah, the problem I have with it, I suppose, is kind of what you're skirting, which is it's not his information. I mean, it was really the reporter here is Snowden in some funny way. But in modern parlance, the way we think of bloggers and everybody else as journalists, Snowden is actually a journalist because he unearthed a bunch of things in his research. He's the one who dug the stuff up. Yes, what he didn't do was reveal. What he didn't do was write it up as articles, and
didn't check with the State Department and CIA,
which journalists shouldn't do anyway.
But and the NSA. Well, this is admitted. This is what they do.
No, they do that because otherwise, I don't know, they would get fired. Which is another reason that people should continue to support our show because nobody can fire us. I mean, yeah, the government guys, which I said, are you worried of the government? I said, why? No, the government listens to the show. They enjoy the No Agenda show. they do.
They don't support us. They don't support us, but
some do. This guy in Aurora, this government. Well, the government itself doesn't support us. Of course not. Anyway, so I have mixed feelings about it. I think I'm not going to say you're wrong in the way you feel about this.
Well. Maybe
Greenwald's not full of it. Maybe, well, I doubt it, but it's possible that what he says is true. Which is, there's a couple of things like Matt Taibbi, and I have a clip from him later, who needs a book for some of these outrageous situations that are complex. Maybe he's right. He can't do it in a 2,500 word article.
Well, Matt Taibbi's articles are extremely long. Right. And very well researched and I love reading them.
Yeah, no.
I'm sorry. I loved reading them because, of course, he has now also been put into the sinkhole known as the Pierre Drive My Car system. Yeah, Intercept is a good name because they intercept all good information and suck it down into a black hole of.
So, are there anything new on the Intercept?
No, there's not a single thing. Nothing new posted since Easter.
Since that guy said they weren't going to post anything because for what was his lame reason again? We had a clip from him.
No, we didn't have a clip. I read a bit of what he posted.
Little note.
Yeah, he said we don't have time. We're setting stuff up.
Well, it doesn't take that long to set stuff up. Was it Intercept out what? It's not com. It's
no. It's I don't know. It's the first.
It's under something else. So you keep talking. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I had a thought though. You're sitting on the beach, you're thinking about stuff, and I was thinking about Snowden calling into Putin's little TV show,
right? Which was funny, if nothing else.
Well, this caused quite a bit of a stir.
Hold on a second. Let me stop you. The Cuban Twitter scam, the April 4th is the last thing they printed on this Intercept with all these hot shots?
Yeah.
Still?
Yeah. Oh, something wrong with my mic.
It's the 24th. We had 20 days with not one thing published?
Oh, what is wrong with my microphone? I'm sorry. I don't know. Something's wrong with my mic. All right.
You sound fine.
It's not fine. Yeah, so that's the last thing. It's dead. I think payroll isn't going through. Hey,
Where's my check?
Who's the other? Jay Rosen? Didn't he join that thing?
Yeah, he's not listed. He said he did.
Yeah, he's an advisor. We've got all these hot shots. Yeah, I don't know where they are. I'm sorry, I don't know what's going on. I would have to say something fishy, but okay. So Snowden, he calls in, and there's a lot of people who, of course, the people who already thought he was an agent for the Russians said, "Oh, well, see, there you go." His lawyer, I mean, all of his advisors are dumbfounded by this, and quite honestly. He's a whistleblower. You could call him a journalist, but he's a whistleblower. He has no business questioning Vladimir Putin. He's got no documents on Putin. Who does he think he is? I think this is, it could be hubris. I'm Ed Snowden. Everyone's getting awards, and I'm here. Well, crap. I'm going to call into the show and stir something up and ask. I'm going to speak truth to power or something. I don't know. Maybe it was that. However, here's what happened, and I just want to take it for what. And he even wrote an op-ed in the Guardian. Did you read this thing?
You got me on that.
Oh yeah, no, he had to because everyone was freaking out. Let me see if I have it here. On Thursday, I questioned Russia's involvement in mass surveillance on live television, which, by the way, is a lie. It was a pre-recorded bit. It was not a lie. I don't think a lot of people actually went and took the trouble to look at it. Because if you look at the video and you know anything about television, this was a pre-recorded bit. It was set up perfectly by the host. It was rolled in, and then they freeze-framed him on the screen while Putin answered the question. It was not live. Not live. It was just not live. I asked Russia's President Vladimir Putin a question that cannot credibly be answered in the negative by any leader who runs a modern, intrusive surveillance program. Does, fill in your country here, intercept, analyze, or store millions of individual communications. I went on to challenge whether, even if such a mass surveillance program were effectively and technically legal, it could ever be morally justified. The question was intended to mirror the now infamous exchange in the U.S. Senate Intelligence Committee hearings between Senator Ron Wyden and the Director of National Intelligence, James Clapper, about whether the NSA collected records on millions of Americans and to invite either an important concession or a clear evasion. So this is how he's explaining what he did with Clapper's lie. I'm dropping a piece here. I was surprised that people who witnessed me risk my life to expose the surveillance practices of my own country could not believe that I might also criticize the surveillance policies of Russia, a country to which I have sworn no allegiance without ulterior motive. I regret that my question could be misinterpreted and that it enabled many to ignore the substance of the question and Putin's evasive response. Now, let me tell you what I'm thinking happened here. And just bear with me, because if you look at it the way I look at it, it's very possible. So what does Vladimir Putin answer? He says, first of all, he says, as a spy, let me talk to you as a man in the spy business. I'm paraphrasing, but that's kind of what he said, correct?
Yeah.
And then he said at the end, we don't have the money that the NSA has. Correct?
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
How about this?
When we listened to it, we interpreted it as, if we could, we would.
Well, I was thinking about it. I'm sitting there on the beach, and I'm thinking, first of all, do you recall the open mic gaffe? The open mic gaffe when President Obama leaned over to Dmitry Medvedev and said, yeah, you tell Putin this, that I'll have more flexibility after I'm reelected. You recall this open mic gaffe?
Oh, yeah. Well,
yes?
There was a lot of open mic gaffes. That was one of many.
Well, that was a good one. Now, what if? Now, the White House, the Obama administration, their allegiance, their guys are the CIA. They decide, and they kill people. They kill people with drones, wet work. They've got secret budgets. And the CIA, as we know, is very pissed off about the billions and billions of dollars the NSA has, those bunch of techno-weenie nerds who've got all that money, and they've got the goods on everybody because they're spying on everybody, and we've got to stop them in their tracks. We've always held a certain belief that this Snowden affair can be a CIA versus NSA feud.
It's an NSA thesis.
What if Vladimir Putin, as he says himself, is an agent, but a CIA agent? Bear with me. Putin, yeah. Because he says, hey, Snowden, as a fellow CIA agent, we don't have the money those NSA guys got. I'm curious to see if this response from Putin comes back into the money angle against the NSA. And you've got to wonder, in general, who Putin is really working for. I find it hard to believe that this guy is the crazy, all about Russia that he's being portrayed as.
I wish there was still a Soviet Union.
In fact, let me grab real quick. Let me grab, where is he? Rogers. Rogers on...
Mad Dog Mike?
Yeah, he was... that'll be his DJ name, I guess, huh? Okay, so CNN is going crazy about Ukraine now. And now that, the plane thing is really, really getting old. Here is Mike Rogers, who really just wants war with Russia, and I don't think it's not real. It's isolationism, and I think the White House is now actually saying isolationism, which means Cold War. But this Mike Rogers, he's representative. We can't vote him out because he's leaving. But don't listen to his radio show.
Representative Mike Rogers is the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee. He's joining us now. Good idea to have these exercises, as they're called, in Poland, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, all NATO allies.
Now, this is of course, we now, actually, I should play this, the little CNN hype. I wrong order. Here we go. Woo!
It's a scene reminiscent of the Cold War. U.S. troops landing in Eastern Europe to counter the threat
with a marching band
from Russia. These paratroopers from the 173rd Airborne are the first of 600 soldiers to deploy for exercises in Poland, Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia. All NATO allies, all nervous about where Russia could strike
next.
Nervous!
They're striking!
And it could be here. Tens of thousands of Russian troops conducting their own exercises today just across the border from eastern Ukraine.
Which is not a NATO country, but okay.
Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov appeared to lay the rhetorical groundwork for Russia to invade, saying Russian citizens in Ukraine are under threat.
I don't see any other way but to respond in full accordance with international law. Russian citizens being attacked is an attack against the Russian Federation.
Okay, so, and I'm just going to say this is all, these guys are working together, John. This is a big play. Everyone is now saying, oh, this is just like Georgia. Just like Georgia. And I'd like to remind anyone who forgot, even though the narrative is Russia attacked Georgia, no. It is, in fact, very much the same, where Georgia encroached on South Ossetia. They started firing, and Russia then protected its citizens. It has been admitted, it is in the history books this way, but the narrative is Russia attacked Georgia. Now let's go back to douchebag Rogers.
It's a great idea.
It's a great idea.
You need to reassure our allies that we will be there. We're not walking away from our NATO commitments. Do I think it should be more robust? I do. Do we think we could do larger exercises, NATO exercises, U.S.-led NATO exercises in a place like Poland? I do. But this is a very good start and a very good sign to let Putin know that we won't tolerate, the United States won't tolerate any incursion into NATO states. And I also think and hope that we can get to a better position, a U.S. position in Ukraine.
But Putin knows that an attack on a NATO ally, whether Poland or these Baltic states, that's an attack on all NATO allies. Given Article 5 of NATO, he's not going to be that reckless.
This is beautiful. This is so...
Can you stop just 1 second? Just something... I don't think we pointed it out, the meme that I just noticed it, but we've heard it over and over and over again. It says the attack on one country,
Article 5,
Article 5, and they go on, and this has been the meme they have made. I don't remember a year ago anybody bringing this up and commenting, attack on one country is attack on all countries. Have you? Isn't this new? The harping. I'm talking about the harping. The
no. This is the meme. This is the entire idea. is this Article 5, NATO, Article 5, attack on one it's New World Order speak is what it is. It's completely, it's theater, and I'm pretty sure Putin is in on it, but it's theater to meld your mind into this. And this, by the way, are we seriously going to sit here and well, I know the answer, but I am not going to sit here and allow the media and the government and the military and whoever else is involved in this theater to hoax us into this again. I'm tired of Cold War lies and bullcrap. I'm tired of attacking countries and war. I'm tired of it. I'm tired, like Iraq. And we're so easy to say, well, it was just like Iraq. But there's no consequence. Who went to jail for that? Did anyone go to jail for lying and get us into Iraq? No. Thousands, hundreds of thousands of people have died. I'm tired of your little theater. Turn off your television, people. This is bull.
Again, we're not dealing with somebody who has the same rational thought process.
Oh, he's not rational? No, he's crazy. He's a crazy man.
That we may have thought even 2 years ago.
He's become crazy. It must be the weed.
Decisions based on what he thinks the position of both NATO and the U.S. are. And currently, he is not certain that will invoke a NATO response. We are having a hard time getting our European allies, even centered around sanctions, on what his actions in Ukraine.
Yeah, no kidding. No one in Europe wants these sanctions, Mike Rogers, because they like heat, they like gas to cook on, they like trade, they like selling things. This is very important. The only thing Europe is going to get, Germany is in there trying to steal the mining industry from East Ukraine. Oh, that's happening. But no one really wants this, Mike Rogers, except you warmongering douchebag. Just take a douchebag.
In Georgia, they've walked away from the NATO talks with Georgia because of the Russian invasion in South Ossetia.
Oh, well, hold on a second. I'm sorry. That's incorrect. And, of course, you'd expect Brolf to say, well, no, that's not exactly correct. That's not the way it happened. Georgia encroached on South Ossetia and the Russians retaliated. That's fact, and that has been admitted by the government. It's just that's not the story you're telling, Mike Rogers. Wait, you are the government, you lying sack of crap.
From the NATO talks with Georgia because of the Russian invasion in South Ossetia in Georgia.
That was back in 2008.
Back in 2000.
No, that was back in 2000. Thanks, Brolf. Great journalistic move.
And they said they wouldn't be there long. They've built full-time bases for their FSB officers along the borders. Big, and I actually have been on the border and seen these sites. They have schools, they have playgrounds.
Oh, you just send in a drone. No. Send in a drone. Let's kill some kids, Rogers.
These are not temporary facilities. They're there for good. And so I think all the indicators led Putin to believe he can be more bold, he can be more aggressive. There's just not a lot that NATO and the U.S. can do.
Until he moves, until he strikes, until he attacks. Now, the problem is, so we had John O'Brennan go into Kiev, and, of course, he was supposed to be there undercover, and he got found out, he got busted, like, oh, crap, what are we going to do? Well, there's normal course of business. That's why he was out there. No, what he said is get the tanks rolling. You've got to, in eastern Ukraine, Donetsk, you have to provoke Putin and get him, let's start this. We got to get this thing going already. We got the war machine is good to go. The BBC, I did find a report that gave us the actual, the facts of what happened. So we had Yats, the prime minister, he looks like a bass player from a bad 70s disco band, doesn't he? He doesn't look like he's not very prime minister presidential-y like a bass guy. And nothing against bass players, but... And so
Adam at Curry.com.
Yeah, so he said,
Send the tanks! Send the tanks!
The international deal to calm tensions in Ukraine, backed by Russia and the West, seems in danger of collapse. Ukraine's acting president has ordered the relaunch of military operations against pro-Russia militants. That's after two men, one a local politician, were found dead in the east of the country. In a separate development, the US is sending 600 military personnel to Poland and 3 Baltic states for what are officially labelled NATO exercises. Well, the BBC's Natalia Antilava is in the Donetsk mining region in eastern Ukraine, and I asked her about the mood there after the announcement that the military campaign against the protesters was going to resume.
The mood, I think, would be best described as sort of anxious, nervous, everybody awaiting what this second part of the anti-terrorist operation by the Ukrainian forces will entail. The first part that took place before Easter wasn't terribly successful. We saw Ukrainian tanks roll in, and very quickly some of them surrendered their armed vehicles and, in some cases, weapons to pro-Russian demonstrators. So it was a very humiliating experience for the Ukrainian army. I'm sure the government in Kiev will be trying to make sure it doesn't happen again.
I didn't hear Brolf mention that the Kiev army basically went, well, crap, I'm not going to shoot you. Here, take my tank. They did just lay down arms like, oh, we're not going to do that. So that's why now we have NATO flexing its muscle in all of these NATO states and making a lot of noise because they couldn't get any fireworks to go. And I say send in Joe O'Biden. Send in crazy old Joe. Surely, here, give him this. Tell him to say this.
No nation has the right to simply grab land from another nation. No nation has that right. And we will never recognize Russia's illegal occupation of Crimea, and neither will the world.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. so he does that at the in Ukrainian parliament. Now we have the Geneva Agreement. This is the 17th of April Geneva Agreement, the document that calls for reciprocal actions to stabilize Ukraine. Now there's disagreement between Watermelon Head Kerry and the man with the golden gun, Lavrov, about this agreement. Because what was supposed to happen is both sides, that would be the United States and Russia, were supposed to, or Ukraine, let's call Ukraine the U.S., to disarm the ultra-nationalists. And this didn't happen in Kiev. The right-wing party, what is their name?
Yes, the right party.
Yeah, they're still occupying buildings, and they're still in Kyiv, and they're still essentially Ukraine and EU and US didn't keep up their end of the bargain. So this is falling apart, and Kerry he's such a moron. He's trying to do anything he can to keep this going. Of course, this is what the neocons want. The same people who took us into Iraq. That's the same people. I can say it as often as you want. And he does a speech with no-chin monster Cathy Ashton, the High Representative of the EU. Who, by the way, I found out she had to do her confirmation hearing twice because they didn't like it the first time. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah.
That's good.
She's such a moron. She's dumb. She's dumb as wood. The wood that Kerry's head is made of. And he's answering some questions. And, of course, this is really only about one thing. How the IMF, or the troika of the IMF, the European Central Bank, going in to rape this country. You watch, the German steel industry will get Donetsk. They will get the mining part. They want the pipelines. It's the land. And now the IMF is looking at $27 billion, of which 15 needs to go to Russia for back pay. And Russia actually, before the Maidan, Euromaidan, Russia offered a bailout of that $15 billion of the money owed for back pay and gas. And now that was what was essentially rejected by the agreement between Ukraine and the EU after the putsch. And so now, Putin's, and Lavrov is like, well, yeah, we're going to pay us.
And finally, did Russia make any commitment on
This is the Q&A section of Kerry's speech.
Ukraine's debt and the gas payments it says are overdue?
The answers are no commitments with respect to the debt, no commitments with respect to the gas payments overdue, but a commitment to engage in a dialogue that Lady Ashton just described, which will begin to tackle the whole question of energy.
Yeah. In other words, no, not at all. Of course not. And now the poor citizens of the Ukraine will now be paying double for their energy. Now, this one, Jen Psaki was here at this, I watched the whole thing, was at this little speech. And Catherine Ashton has no business doing public speaking anyway. And so you know how it's all scripted, the Washington Post and AP and everybody. And by the way, it's the beautiful girl from the Washington Post who asks questions. Have you ever seen this girl from Washington Post? She's like a
beautiful girl from the Washington
Post. Oh, yeah, I forget her name. It's, I wrote it. It's in the show notes somewhere. They're all in Ukraine. All the beautiful people are there. But they let it get away with the British guy from the British CNBC. I don't think this question was scripted, and it kind of ends the news conference.
Thank you. Steve Sedgwick, CNBC. I'm amazed up until the last answer, Secretary of State and Baroness Ashton, that we haven't heard the word Crimea at all today. Can I confirm now that the West and Ukraine have given up on Crimea and that the whole sanctions process and escalation of sanctions or de-escalation of sanctions has now got nothing to do with Crimea anymore? It's all about the South and the East of remaining Ukrainian territory.
This is the guy who deserves a Polk Award. That's a very good question. You didn't mention Crimea at all in 40 minutes of babbling?
No, you cannot confirm that. And I'm amazed that you asked that question after the answer I just gave. Maybe it was a question you really felt you had to ask, and despite my prior answer, you asked it anyway.
Off script.
Yeah, of course.
Just telling him to shut up, slave, because he went off script.
Yeah, exactly.
How do you shoot out a guy who asks the question?
Yeah.
I'm amazed you asked this idiotic question.
That was not in the script.
Say that to anybody else.
Yeah, Jen Psaki is sleeping in the tent tonight. Yeah.
Differed on Crimea. And I said it was illegal. And I said we disagree with the basis on the Constitution of Ukraine as well as on international law. I just said it.
I just said it. No, he didn't, by the way.
In addition to that, the fact is that we just sanctioned them 2 days ago, I believe, on the issue of Crimea. So the fact is that we have made it crystal clear that there is a significant difference over Crimea. We are not, quote, given up. But today, we didn't come here to talk about Crimea.
No, we came here to talk about Jews.
All expressions of extremism, racism, and religious intolerance, including anti-Semitism. Let me say a quick word about that.
What?
Yeah, this is the letter. This is the pamphlet that was handed out to, which has now been internationally recognized by Haaretz newspaper, by Think Progress, by Leslie Weiss, as a hoax, as a fake. John Kerry is saying this.
Just in the last couple of days, notices were sent to Jews in one city.
Jews!
Indicating that they had to identify themselves as Jews.
Jews!
And obviously, the accompanying threat implied is or threaten or suffer the consequences, one way or the other. In the year 2014, after all of the miles traveled and all of the journey of history, this is not just intolerable, it's grotesque.
Grotesque!
It is beyond unacceptable.
You can stop him. I can't stand listening to this guy for too long.
So now, of course, what he's this note. This backfires on him because the whole idea is to say, oh yes, anti-Semites, they want to kill the Jews. It's all about the Jews. They want to kill the Jews. So this thing is exposed as a massive hoax. Now on the No Agenda show, we get to do things that you just cannot get on regular newscasts because advertisers don't want it. We got to hit the break. We got to do this news coming up at the top of the hour, whatever. Matt of he's Reuters, I think, right? Matt in the State Department.
That was AP.
I think he's Reuters.
Okay.
Matt, and in a minute you'll hear Matt double teaming with Saeed, but Matt is having none of this bull crap. And let's start first with the photo. Now, the photos, which you by now have probably seen, even the New York Times, I'm calling it Photo Gate, actually. The New York Times is now backpedaling on this They published photos and said, "Hey, this guy who has a non-uniform in Donetsk in
the guy with
in
the
Ukraine,
beard,
with the beard, like the ZZ Top guy, he was in Russia, in Georgia, and he's a Russian soldier. It's fact. Russian soldiers, Russia. It's the Russians." So Matt calls Jen Psaki on this. And I've edited this down in just the most beautiful way.
The stories, the reports about these photographs, this evidence that I've seen say that the administration endorses or accepts that these are factual.
By the way, these were taken from some guy's Instagram, as it turns out.
Is that correct?
Well, a range of the photos that the Ukrainians have provided, and to be fair, a number of U.S. officials have tweeted.
It's been tweeted!
And provided publicly, are from publicly available photos, either in international media or already on Twitter.
I love this. Now, she's going to make the case that this is true because it's been on Twitter and in international media.
That show... either individuals or signs of a connection with between Russia and some of the armed militants in eastern Ukraine. So that, as you know, has long been what we have believed, and we've made the case.
It gets better. It gets better.
Publicly.
I've concluded she was behind my NYPD.
Well, with the stupid Twitter stuff, yeah, it could be. Hey, it works so well for the Ukrainians. Let's do it for the police.
Out, whether that's the secretary or the president or others. So these are just further evidence of the connection between Russia and the armed militants.
How strong is the case, do you think, that these photographs make?
Well, we've stated the case pretty strongly publicly before these photos were out there, before we were talking about them, in terms of our belief that there's a strong connection between Russia and the armed militants that we've seen in eastern Ukraine. And
this is your American government failing at lying about the fact that they have no proof whatsoever that these are Russian troops.
And the other thing is, does this guy, you're telling me that, when was Georgia? It was like 4 or 5 years ago? The guy hasn't shaved his beard or changed his look. He's the same exact guy.
His agent said, "Don't change that, man. This is good. This is a look. I can get you work. I can make you famous. I can make you leave your wife famous, dude, if you keep the beard. Just watch."
Crimea and other places. So this is more... just further photographic evidence.
Right, but I mean, how certain are you that these photographs have links to Russia, who were involved in Georgia in 2008 and now are involved in Ukraine in 2014?
Well, what we see in the photos that have been, again, in international media, on Twitter. And
it's been on Twitter, Matt! Shut up, it's been on Twitter. You know it's real.
Publicly available. Is that there are individuals who visibly appear to be tied to Russia. We've said that publicly a countless number of times. I will let you all draw the conclusions yourself as to whether these are individuals who look similar or not.
When we say it's so, it's so. And if it's on
the
Twitter...
guy 6 years ago, he looks the same as he does today, exactly. Yeah. The funny thing is, I think these guys have been eating their own dog food. Because I don't know, this is like these my NYPD thing that we brought up at the beginning of the show.
Yes.
It's the State Department that knows they can pull off this stupid crap
for the press,
Turkey,
for the press.
So outside the country, but the United States, the typical idiot in the United States has been on social media since the beginning, and is more likely to react to this kind of manipulation.
Well, no, I got to disagree. I got to disagree. I think that the typical United States citizen is all in.
No, but but it's a cycle of in. You're in at the beginning. It cycles through the hoax notion. It comes back around as a negative thing. We don't just sit on it and then cause a revolution based on some scam, some phony baloney thing. Everybody eventually comes around to realizing it's a hoax. I mean, this is what happens with all the hoaxes that go through Facebook and Twitter and all the rest. Oh, it was a hoax. I mean, there's still a few complete idiots, yes, but I don't think it's anything like outside the country. I'm telling you, this just backfires. Always what happened with the New York PD thing.
So even the New York Times...
they have been hoaxed so often.
Well, this is the newspaper of record.
record hoaxes.
What kind of fact checking do they do? I mean, this is a black mark on the New York Times, just one of many. But have you ever seen a white guy and an Arab guy double team a redhead?
I don't know what you mean by that, but what?
Well, here's Matt and Saeed going after Jen. Well, she's a redhead.
And what we saw last week was Secretary Kerry in Geneva getting up and talking about this leaflet that was put out, which regarding Jewish registration in Donetsk. And it appears that this is just a hoax. This is not a real thing. And
now, note, he's saying it's a hoax. This is a representative of the media saying this is a hoax. And he'll come back to the pictures again and just watch what happens and listen to this woman trying to get out of it.
Yet it was identified as something of major significance by the secretary and by others. And I'm just wondering, given that and the apparent the fact that what appears to have been a hoax got turned into something very much more major than it had the potential to be. If these photographs could fall, if the Russians could point to these photographs as falling into the same category.
Well, Matt, there's a range of details out there we've talked about that leads us to believe there's a strong connection. We'll let people draw their own conclusions.
Jen, but you're saying you're making a case in this case.
Well, Saeed, I would point you to. Let me finish. I would point you to what the secretary, what the president, what Susan,
all liars, by the way, all liars.
Susan Rice have said what we've all been saying for weeks about the strong connection. This is not a new argument.
But you're not. Are you saying that the United States government, with its, great tradition of intelligence gathering and sources and so on, is now dependent on publicly traded photographs on the internet and Twitter and so on?
I think it's fair for me to convey that we're looking at a fair share of classified and unclassified information. We're discussing both.
Now, this is where she's in the corner. Matt is sharpening up the knife.
But these are a range of photos, and you've hit the point on the nail on the head there, that have been publicly available, that are on Twitter, that are in international media, and we'll let you draw your own conclusions.
No, you said something that they appear to be, they look like. Are you saying that you're actually looking at what they look physically, and they look like people who are connected to Russia? Is that what you're suggesting?
Again, Saeed, I think I've answered this question.
So you're saying that these photographs back up classified intelligence?
No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying they back up the public argument we've been making for weeks.
They back up the bullcrap lies we've been making up.
Right, but your argument is not just based on the publicly available photographs, like these ones, correct?
Obviously, I'm not going to talk about classified information.
Well, I'm just asking
but it is fair that we are having a range of conversations with our international partners, and these photos, which are again publicly available, are just further evidence or further examples.
I guess I'm just not sure why you keep pointing out that they're publicly available. I mean, no one's saying they're not, but But just because they're publicly available I don't see how that buttresses your argument one way or the other. What I'm asking is whether these publicly available photographs back up any indications that you're getting from non-public or intel.
Well, Matt,
why isn't this guy doing the PBS NewsHour? He's asking real questions. These are good questions.
Yeah, you don't have to even ask that.
Argument we've been making for weeks about.
Would you make that public argument if you didn't have other reason to believe that it was true?
I'm not going to answer it further.
Well, then I'm not sure. Then you're just
making it up.
I think
you have no reason to believe.
Matt, we have consistently made the same argument about the connection between Russia and between these armed militants. That's been consistent for weeks. These photos just show further examples of that connection.
But you wouldn't be making that argument. Am I correct? You wouldn't be making that argument if you didn't have other reasons to suspect that
we feel confident in our argument. I'm not going to I'm not going to outline it further.
These photographs and publicly available evidence. This publicly available evidence does actually support what we have gathered in other means.
What we've stated for weeks.
Okay.
Do we have any more on this topic?
I have one more question.
Okay.
Now, the Russians are claiming that the Ukrainians are already, they whatever you call, they already violated the terms of the agreement in Geneva. Do you have any comment on that?
No comment.
So I want to go back before I get too far off the field to my favorite analyst, which is Bald Herbert of France 24, Van Cat, who was in the Ukraine again, and he's actually in the area where the Donetsk area, where the hoax Jewish thing was sent out, and I don't understand why it would even go there, because these people are trying to renounce the right wingers that would be, if anyone would send out that letter, it wouldn't be in this area. And this is the guy, if you recall, is who really clued us in on Crimea.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes. Oh, that's this guy. Okay, yeah, great.
This guy. So he's now over there, and he's going to give us I want you to contrast this with what you played earlier from the BBC, which told us nothing. This guy is going to now give us the rundown on what's going on in the eastern Ukraine and what is maybe where it's headed.
Fear the Geneva Accord is dead and buried, essentially. Those were the words of the Ukrainian interim president. It's precisely because of towns like Slovyansk. Now, I'm in Donetsk, and Donetsk is officially the capital of the self-proclaimed People's Republic of Donetsk, the separatists' stronghold. Yet Slovyansk is the town, if anything, that appears more hardcore, sort of taken over by more of a siege mentality than even Donetsk. The Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe has monitors on the grounds in this region, and they are ostensibly here to help implement and ease the implementation of the Geneva Accords. However, they have said themselves that Slovyansk, where I spent the entire day yesterday, is essentially totally under the control of armed groups. And the siege mentality, you really can't understate it. Wherever you go, there is a sense that the regime in Kiev are full of fascists. It's a junta, essentially, that is out to get the East. The mayor of the town held a press conference yesterday, Vyacheslav Ponomaryov. He's, of course, pro-Russian, self-proclaimed mayor, not recognized by anyone really outside of his own town or region. And he basically sees American mercenaries everywhere, or says he sees their presence. He sees the Ukrainian army about to strike his town. Basically, everyone here says they want a referendum, not just greater autonomy that Kiev is holding out as a possibility. They want a federalized state, if not totally to break away from Ukraine and join Russia. They're not laying down their arms anytime soon. And anyone who questions their motives, or who questions their willingness to perhaps listen to other people, suddenly becomes an enemy to them. They do not want to hear any other version of the truth.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense to me.
Yeah.
It makes total sense. And I like this guy.
And the American mercenaries are probably there causing trouble.
Oh, yeah.
And these dead guys that were found tortured, probably God knows what's going on with that. But this is a serious situation, and our fooling around is not going to accomplish anything. These guys are going to do what they're going to do.
I got two quick clips from Professor Steve Cohen. This is the guy that you turned us on to, I think, initially.
Right, I like Cohen.
Yeah, Cohen. And I didn't think Cohen would ever get asked back, because he's making too much sense. But he's on some overnight show on CNN now.
That's getting asked back. Overnight, the 2:00 in the morning bit.
Here he is. But he says some interesting things that No Agenda listeners will clue into.
We all remember what happened. Peaceful protests became violent in the streets. He was overthrown. He fled. A new government was formed. And then the focus shift to eastern Ukraine, which is largely pro-Russian. That's what we're watching now. The problem here is a lot of tails are wagging the dog being East-West relations and the possibility of war. These violent episodes at checkpoints, snipers, young toughs wearing masks, we don't know who they are, armed militia roaming the lands both in the east and the west, and it's not clear that Russia can control these developments, or that Kiev, which is backed by the United States and Europe, can control those developments in western Ukraine. So I think we're on the cusp of civil war in Ukraine, regardless of what Russia and the United States might decide.
And that is probably exactly what everybody wants. Let's balkanize that. Let's break it up. Let's make it into a small micro states.
About three or four
3 or 4, yeah. And he continues with, with the obvious.
Yeah, and you can see how some of these provocations could spiral out of control. I mean, you talk about sort of hearkening back to the Cold War, to the Soviet Union. One of the things we just heard from the Prime Minister of Ukraine was saying this is what Vladimir Putin wants. He's staging a return to the days of the USSR. I mean, what do you make of that assertion? What do you think?
I dismiss it as the propaganda of one side. And here's one of the problems we have. Russia's churning out its propaganda or misinformation, Kiev its, and Washington its. Now listen to what the New York Times reported today on Sunday on the front page, that the Obama administration has decided to write off Putin as a leader and to go back to the old Cold War policy of containment. They use that word. Now, if that report is accurate, didn't give any sources, but it was on the front page of the New York Times, that the Obama administration has decided on a new policy, old policy, of containment toward Russia. That means that officially, we are back in Cold War. We don't need the acting prime minister of Ukraine to tell us that. President Obama has told us that, if the New York Times report is accurate.
Well, I'm sure that the leaks to the New York Times are accurate because it is the mouthpiece of the New World Order.
Right.
And
what fun.
Yeah. Well, I find the whole business disgusting, and everyone's just lapping it up and just allowing our leaders to do this. It's too bad. I make a plea, but I know it's falling on deaf ears. We have lots of kids, students listening in colleges supporting the show, and your professors are also supporting the show. But someone needs to just create a ruckus. We need to protest, riot. This needs to stop. Are we just going to sit by and watch on TV as it unfolds and then, oh, well, there we go. It's another war. We're in it. How stupid is everybody?
Well, and the Civil War would be interesting because it would be a balkanization, which is something we seem to like.
Look at Yugoslavia or Bosnia and Herzegovina.
Busted up into a whole bunch, Czechoslovakia.
And we shot cruise missiles, didn't we?
Yeah, into Bosnia and Herzegovina.
But it only killed the bad kind.
Well,
of people.
It does sell a lot of guns and weapons, and you have different. If you have 3 countries instead of 1 country, they have to buy 3 times as much weaponry.
This is a fact.
And so you end up with, I think this is good for business.
Yeah. Well, that is what it seems to be. I mean, we're slowly pulling out of all other places, so I guess we're going to have
to do something with our time now.
Someone said all wars are bankers' wars, and I'm beginning to think that's kind of true.
It could be. And so I have a couple of clips. Obama has gone to Asia.
Yes, this is now he's also going to Malaysia. He's because Malaysia is one of the holdouts on the TTP, correct?
I believe so. But he's going there for reasons unknown to me. He did say, there's a lot of commentary on this on the international news shows, that bitching out of the blue, that he made a big deal about pivoting in the Silicon Valley parlance, pivoting toward Asia and then not doing anything, because he hasn't pivoted to anything. He's just... so now he's going there. And of course, the Japanese are irked that Michelle didn't show up with him.
She went to China, even worse.
Yeah, right. So that's some sort of an insult to the Japanese. But I have these 2 clips, and you're talking about, the first clip is really the setup for the second clip. So play Obama in Asia. It's a little background on Van Cat.
The president is en route to Japan, the first stop in a week-long Asian tour. Speaking to local media just before he headed off, Barack Obama said the U.S. would be ready to come to Japan's defense if needed to intervene in the dispute over islands in the East China Sea. A territorial row has been rumbling between China and Japan since Japan bought the islands off a private owner 2 years ago. Well, to tell us more about that and Obama's four-nation Asian visit, Annette Young joins us now in studio. Annette, how much is Obama's trip going to focus on defence?
A lot, because as we've just been seeing there in the Ukraine, there's a great deal of concern in Asia that they might be in danger of experiencing a similar scenario with the Chinese. They don't want an Asian equivalent to Crimea. And unlike Europe, the Asian countries don't have a defence alliance like NATO, which of course exists in Europe and also allows America to throw its weight around in this part of the world. Now, of course, particularly Japan and South Korea are very concerned about an overly aggressive China on their doorstep.
Hold on a second. But what would be the Asian Crimea?
They didn't say, but they're fearful that something would be.
Wow.
But somehow, this is what we missed. Somewhere along the line, a propaganda campaign must have begun that had put into the mind space, to use another Silicon Valley term, of the Asian population that a Crimea is imminent with China being the equivalent of Russia in the Asian sphere. And the Van Cat reporters picked up on this. I've never heard this before.
I haven't heard this either.
Now, it goes on with this other little piece of information, and that's probably why I mentioned the 3 countries are better than one for, like, selling arms and armaments.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this little tidbit here on the Philippines is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Korea. The other thing, though, which will be very interesting, is on Monday he'll be signing this new agreement with the Filipino government, which will allow the Americans greater access to the Filipino Air Force bases and naval bases, which is something quite extraordinary given that it's been 20 years since the Americans closed down that big naval installation at Subic Bay.
Yeah, but didn't we, with HARP, didn't we create that typhoon and we wiped everything out and then we went in and brought our ships and we're right off the coast there? Didn't that all happen?
Yeah, it's not the same as Subic Bay, which was this huge operation that they shut down. I think I think this is something to do with that little that inlet that you pointed out that runs along.
Oh, you mean the Malacca Straits?
The Malacca Straits, and it has, and it put another base in the Philippines. Somehow we've scared these people. We don't, like, again, I think we dropped the ball on something here. Somehow we've frightened it because the Filipinos don't want to deal with us. We're a pain in the ass, and they didn't like. They're the ones who drove the Subic Bay thing out.
Hey, listen,
protesting.
They all work for our call centers. What do you mean? We own them.
Well, they like that part. I don't think they didn't like this base because, we go into these places and we have a bunch of drunken sailors and they wreck the place. And so they get tired of their women being accosted.
What shall we do with a drunken sailor?
So
we got bases
there's something
everywhere.
going on that we're completely unaware of. Obama's going over there.
No, I believe
there's a piece of information missing.
Well, look what's happening. I just saw out of the corner of my eye, I saw the Malaysian Prime Minister on TV. This is heating up. Malaysia, they need, in order to create this TPP, which, by the way, I'm changing my own story now, but any shale gas, if we have any, I'm not even sure we have that now. Anything we do get to export, it's not going to Europe. That's just to speed it all along. That's just to get it going. It's all going to Asia. That is blatantly clear to me. And we need that TPP agreement. Then we need to push it through. We need to hurry that up. And Malaysia, they are the holdout. This little crappy country. They're in for regime change. And whether it's the Flight 370 or anything else, I think you watch, regime change is coming in Malaysia. Put it in the book. Well, we have it in the book, I think.
Yes.
We have it in the book.
We talked about this weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. All right. Onward. South Sudan's got some action we should talk about. But first I want to get, before the show gets too far
It's not really good action. It's not like hot girl on girl action.
Is I'm going to make a prediction, and I have the clip.
Oh, very good.
I am now going to predict, and I'm putting it in the Red Book, that Elizabeth Warren will be the Democrat candidate for president.
Oh, my goodness. I have 2 clips about her as well.
Well, let's play the one where she's on Charlie Rose explaining in some sort of, I don't know, this was totally scripted about the evils of capitalism and how you need a cop on the beat and all this more regulation. And she's the one, behind all that sort of thing. She is very unctuous and reasonable, and
unctuous.
He loves her.
What is unctuous?
I don't know. Unctuous is kind of like, you're just like, you're just, so hyper sincere and
like full of crap. You mean full of crap?
Yeah, full of crap. That's her.
All right, here she is on Charlie Rose.
Tell me about the sexuality. It's in your DNA.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The funny thing is, the clip kind of starts that.
Creating opportunity.
No, we are not.
Okay. Secondly, when you look at this, do you blame capitalism? Is the American brand of capitalism part of the problem?
I think
do we need to have more regulation? Do we need to have a hard look at what capitalism does and how it works, in your judgment?
We always need to have a hard look at all of our policies in this country.
I'm not talking about Washington now. I'm talking about the essential economic system that has brought the United States to the place of economic leadership.
Wow, is he talking about getting rid of the petrodollar? What is Charlie on the SDR trip?
I thought he was completely off the deep
Wow. Okay. And again, a hard look. What does that mean? What is the etymology of a hard look?
I don't know.
It is.
No, but that in part are the rules in Washington that make the difference, Charlie. You put a cop on the beat on Main Street, it means nobody steals your purse.
Right.
You put a cop on the beat on Wall Street, it means nobody steals your pension. The decision about whether to have a cop on the beat will profoundly affect how much stealing goes on. We've got to have fair rules. Whether or not we invest in our schools will determine whether or not kids are going to have real opportunities. If we invest in infrastructure, will determine whether or not small businesses have a chance to grow. Those policies are not
most people
divorced.
Understand that investments in infrastructure, investments in scientific research, investments in human resources are essential to our competitive place in the world.
So then the question becomes, so why are we cutting back on all of those? Think about that, Charlie.
Oh, think
about that, Charlie.
She is such a dick. I really do not like this woman.
I don't either, and she's going to beat Hillary because she's better than Hillary. And she's got less baggage, and she's got a great pitch on student loans. She is outstanding in this regard.
I have the student loan pitch, which she laid down on. She has a book out.
Okay, before you go there, I got a couple things to finish. One, she's the one who says a cop, stops crime. A cop on Wall Street prevents you, stealing a purse, stealing a pension, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is bullcrap because we've had cops all over the place on Wall Street. The SEC was supposed to stop the Madoff thing. They didn't do crap. I want to play two clips, then we can get back to the educational thing. Yeah. This is Matt Taibbi on Democracy Now! Talking about his new book. And there's a two-parter. It's about the Abacus Bank. And this is your cop on the beat. That does exist. And this is a disgusting story. First, we get the background on the Abacus Bank, which was busted last May. And then we hear Taibbi's takedown of the whole thing.
Right, American injustice in the age of the wealth cap. Now, turning to the banks, or the bank that was prosecuted, Abacus Bank. Last May, it became the first bank to be indicted in Manhattan in over 2 decades. Manhattan District Attorney Cyrus Vance Jr. announced the indictment.
Today, we are announcing the indictment, or guilty pleas, of 19 individuals on charges including mortgage fraud, securities fraud, and conspiracy, as well as the indictment of Abacus Federal Savings Bank, a federally chartered bank that has been catering to the Chinese immigrant community since 1984. Now, these defendants, the bank and former employees and managers from its loan department, are charged with engaging in a systematic scheme to falsify and fabricate loan applications to the Federal National Mortgage Association, commonly known as Fannie Mae, so that borrowers who would otherwise not legally qualify for Fannie Mae's mortgages could obtain them unlawfully. This is a large-scale mortgage fraud case that we estimate to include hundreds of millions of dollars worth of falsified loan applications. If we have learned anything from the recent mortgage crisis. It's that at some point, these schemes unravel and taxpayers can be left holding the bag.
Okay, stop it. Now that it sounds good, kind of, but then you realize that this is bull crap.
It's a little China bank.
It's a little China bank, and here's Matt Taibbi talking about it, and this is all outlined in his book.
That's Manhattan DA Cyrus Vance Jr. Matt Taibbi, you were at this trial. You heard...
That's also the guy who railroaded Dominique Strauss-Kahn, by the way.
Yes.
Prosecutor Vance there suggesting some link here to the financial crisis, but that wasn't the case.
So this is, it's almost humorous. It's not humorous for the bank involved, obviously, but here he is holding this grand press conference. They actually had a chain gang where they chained 19 of the defendants together and hauled them into court for this exercise.
All working for Abacus?
All working for Abacus, and these are working class Chinese immigrants, basically. The highest ranking official in this entire case made $90,000 a year. Many of them didn't speak English. This is a small bank wedged between two noodle shops in Chinatown. And this was the target they chose to go against as a symbol of the financial crisis. In the chain gang incident, actually three of the defendants had actually already been arraigned, but they asked them to volunteer to come down to the courthouse for the photo op that day. Brought them in, chained them up to the rest of the defendants so they could be rearranged for the benefit of the cameras. But the point of this whole thing is that Abacus Federal Savings Bank, which is a small community minority bank in Manhattan, this was the sole target of any reprisal by the government in the wake of the financial crisis. And they're a stone's throw from all these gigantic skyscrapers, housing all of these other major banks that committed crimes that were hundreds of times worse than Abacus was even accused of.
Actually, I read his article on this a while back, and it's very fun. It's too bad that he's been shut up and been bought up by Pierre Drive My Car. Yeah,
he won't stay there. He'll be smart enough.
Oh,
to quit.
We'll see.
But this is your cop on the beat.
Well, Elizabeth Warren was the cop on the beat, who was supposed to protect me from these credit card practices, which I only did to repair my credit, which is what I need according to our president, where they're charging me interest on just for using the card. And it's someone sent me an email that the same bank was Credit One. He moved, and the guy moved, and then he got a note from Credit One. This is someone who emailed this and said, because you have moved, your due date for your payment may change.
Why?
And the answer, that was the question, and the answer was because you've changed zip codes. And of course, the true answer is to make sure you miss a payment so we can then go to the 23% interest. That's the reason. Anything to get you to slip up once, which is why you have this one bank, the commercial with the twins, where you get to slip up once the first time you miss a payment. It's okay. Awesome sauce. No worries. Oh, my goodness, yes. It's, what I can't remember, the Freedom Bank, whatever the name of the bank is. They're all horrible a-holes. And Elizabeth Warren is in on it. And her pitch, here's her pitch on... And I agree, by the way, that she's got her book out before Hillary. Although Hillary's got the pregnant kid. This is good play. She'll
have the dead husband.
She'll have the dead husband. It's all in the book.
Pregnant kid,
dead husband.
I don't care. She's not going to cut it when the two of them go head to head in a debate. Elizabeth Warren is going to eat her lunch.
Well, here is Warren on Jon Stewart with a very typical pitch about this college loans.
Kids who can't afford to go.
And she's so insincere. She is so insincere. I have a people meter.
Go to college. Their parents can't afford to just write them a check, so they got to borrow money.
Right.
The United States government says, we will lend you the money to go to school. Okay, that's a good thing to do. And then...
Stop. I didn't clip this part of the Charlie Rose show, but I'm telling you, because I have a good memory for this, this is word for word.
The same.
Oh,
of course, she is a robot. She's an android.
Play it out.
Piles on to the interest rates so that the government makes tens of billions of dollars in profits off the backs of kids who are trying to get an education. I think it is obscene for the government to make profits off our kids.
Now, what's her answer?
But that doesn't strike me. So who is lobbying the government to get them more money? That's not even a corporate interest. That's a government inherent internal corruption, is it not?
But that is exactly the point.
Yeah.
So to say, which I want to do, and I think we're going to propose next month, refinancing those student loans that are outstanding to bring down the interest rate, cut the interest rate on those student loans. In order to be able to do that, we got to find someplace else in the budget.
Okay, do you remember what she says? Someplace else in the budget? Is it the same as Charlie Rose? Do you recall what she said there?
No, I don't.
Find that money. My view is we ought to close a couple of those loopholes, make billionaires pay just as much in taxes as their secretaries.
But here's what's frustrating.
Yeah, and is it the old, we got to make them pay the same taxes as the secretaries. Now here's the kicker. If anybody knows how this stuff works, it's Mika. You know Mika.
Ooh, Brzezinski.
Mika Brzezinski, daughter of the great grand chess game elitist Zbigniew Brzezinski. And they sent one of their reporters for the Morning Joe show out to interview Elizabeth Warren. And Mika, at the end of this piece, tells you exactly how it works and how it's going down and why. And you'll hear Elizabeth Warren. She does not say she's not running. She says, I'm not running now. You know, I'm not that she won't run ever for president, but she said, I'm not running. So, and she's insincere. She's skirting around it. She's a liar. She's a douchebag. She's done nothing but waste my time and energy, as far as I'm concerned. And you say that she will eat Hillary's lunch. Well,
I've read a number of articles just within the last week, and one of them is titled Hillary's Nightmare. And they're talking about you.
I don't get who writes these headlines or what they're about.
You did.
Yeah, of course she writes. Her campaign manager wrote that.
I think there's just kind of a pundit world out there.
Are you going to run for president?
I'm not running for president.
I'm not running for president.
There's nothing that could change your mind.
David, like I said, I'm not running for president.
Performative.
And do you think Hillary Clinton would make a good president?
I think Hillary Clinton is terrific. We've got to stay focused on these issues right now.
Right now, we've got to. You know what? I would be happy if she also became president because we'd have more fun as the empire falls to shit. This woman can't run anything. She can't run.
You know, I think she's not running. She doesn't say I'm not going to run.
Exactly. She says I'm not running,
and she's not. She's not running.
Not right now. She's not lying.
But are you talking right now, John?
Are you talking?
I wasn't.
No, you're not. But listen to Mika. Mika has the analysis. It's actually a no agenda analysis.
Exactly right.
Exactly.
Willie Geist. There is a pundit world out there, and the water's so warm inside of it, isn't it? It's a great big pundit world.
Come inside, Senator Warren. The water's just fine.
Water's just fine.
No.
Come on in. And
So you don't think there's any chance she runs to the left of Hillary Clinton or whoever the Democrat is?
I think people really want her to run, and the people that I've talked to who are Democrats seem really excited by her. There is no way she could have answered that question any other way.
Right.
Are you Hillary's nightmare? Thanks, David Muir. That's not very helpful if you want to get an answer.
not helpful to the Warren cause. He's being a great journalist.
It's like, no, actually, that's basically saying you're going to get a no, because the Hillary Clinton entire cabal would close in on her and get rid of her so quickly, she has to say no.
That's exactly right. Yep. Hillary Clinton will shoot you in the face. That's what she does.
Yeah, she's got it's pretty obvious she's running, and she'll beat Hillary.
No. Well, she may beat her up. I don't think. I mean, Hillary's going to have the dead husband, the pregnant kid. She's going to look dynamite, and she has the power. Man, Warren's got no power. She got no money.
I put it. It's in the book.
Yeah. Well, look,
I'm going to put in the book that you said no chance in hell.
No. I didn't say that. I didn't say no chance in hell.
Kind of what you indicate there. You say Hillary's got all the power.
You're putting words in my mouth.
She's got the gun. She's got the assassins.
I didn't say she had a gun. I said she could shoot. She will shoot you in the face. I didn't say she had a gun. That's okay. I implied that.
Yeah. Well,
Hillary Clinton.
I'm sticking with this.
Well, if you want
Hillary's okay. Let's start. Wait. Let's do a fractal thing here. Hillary really cannot campaign. She puts idiots in charge. She doesn't know. She's not good at, there's some of the great things you notice. When you notice this in Silicon Valley, why are some companies so successful? Because they have a guy who's really good at picking out personnel. He gets the right people. He puts them all in place. And he knows what he's doing in that regard. She has none of that skill, and she can't find a person who does. So she'll put together a crappy campaign like she did against Obama, and anybody who comes along can blow it apart effortlessly, and that's what Warren is going to do. Because Warren, we already know, can really put together a campaign to take out that Scott Brown guy. Like she got 3 times as we found this on a clip just a couple of weeks ago. She is getting more money than anybody. She knows what she's doing.
Well, it will be a sad day for our country.
Well, let's hope the Republicans can come up with somebody.
Oh, they got nobody.
I think this woman is easy picking. I think if I was a Republican and I had to run against Clinton versus Warren, I'd rather run against Hillary. Oh, I'm sorry. I'd rather run against Warren because I think you can pick her off. Hillary is dangerous if she's at the top of the ticket.
You may fall down the stairs. May have an unfortunate accident.
But Warren, I think that Republicans can beat her because she's such a socialist.
Yeah, but if Elizabeth Warren is elected, it doesn't matter. What am I even saying?
Well,
Who cares?
Now you're being crazy.
Why?
Who cares?
I'm just. Why am I even caring about it?
I'm going to show my support by donating to No Agenda.
Talk.
Imagine all the people who could do that.
This?
Oh yeah, that'd be fun.
That's nuts.
Yeah, on No Agenda.
Hey-oh.
In the morning.
I got to remind myself once in a while of what is this crazy talk? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But
they're all
but I just want to say, as we go into this little segment, you need to stand up to the police state and tell people that they are rude, inappropriate, and above all, they work for you.
Yeah. I pay you. My taxes pay your salary.
No, you don't say that. You just say, you work for me, son. What is he going to do? Tase you?
Yeah.
All right. I'll take that. But it doesn't matter. You got to say, excuse me, son. You work for me. All right.
Andrew Holcomb. We want to thank a few people, including Andrew Holcomb in Ann Arbor, Michigan. $144.45. And he's now going to be a knight, Sir Andrew, Protector of the Bound Books.
Nice.
We might, since he's getting his knighthood, we can give him a Putin karma.
Oh, okay. We do have to kind of...
yeah, I know. We're going to move this along.
Hold on. A Putin karma. He's becoming
We'll stop for nights.
Got karma.
We always want to stop for nights.
Guy Boaz.
Guy Boazzi.
Guy Boozy.
Guy Boazzi.
Guy Boazzi. Sorry.
Boozy.
123.45. One of my favorite donations. He's in Israel. Ivini Kovalev in New York City, 111.69. He wants some menage a trois. I've got the thing. I'm going to do one last thing. It's coming up in baby.
You're not speaking English right now.
I'm just mumbling away. I'm just saying words. Sam Menner, $111.11, Box Hill, South Victoria, making it rain for John and Adam. AJ, $111.11 in One Tree Hill, Australia. Just call me AJ. Okay, that's what we did. Thank goodness. Damien Taman in Perth, Australia, $111.11. He wants a couple of Hillary Clinton and Christine Lagarde on the stage.
So are you going to do this now?
Yeah, it's coming up. It's coming up. I'm going to definitely do it. It's going to be it's going to be spectacular. Chris Terhart in Abbotsford, BC, $104. Dustin Kekta in Chandler, Arizona, $100, and he's relenting or is missing the fact that he hasn't donated for a while. WJB Raps in Kerkrade, Limburg, Netherlands.
Kerkrade. And he has a douchebag call out, which for some reason wasn't listed. Imad Ulad. I guess is being called out as a douchebag.
At least 2 more times this year with bigger amounts, and since another producer of the show, Imad Ulad, hears this.
No.
He may call me out.
No. I'm sorry. I'm wrong.
You're wrong. Yeah. Sir Anonymous in Nowhere, Oklahoma, $100. Richard Olson in Ellensburg, Washington, $100. Dame Heather Aronson in San Francisco, and I have to mention that she sent a kind of a cute little note, but more importantly...
A picture?
No, she didn't send a picture. She should send a picture. She didn't send a picture. She sent me a copy of 50 Shades of Kale, the book. And so we got this book, and we thought it was going to be a parody, like 50 Shades of Chicken. And it's not a parody. It's a serious cookbook, but every recipe is like this. Roast beef with kale. Fried chicken with kale. Tacos with kale. I mean, there's maybe 2 kale recipes, and there's always a side dish. It's not a cookbook.
I had in the Healthy Surprise box. I was so hungry the other day, and Mickey was out, and she was going to grab some stuff at the grocery store. We had nothing after coming back from vacation. The Healthy Surprise box, there was the kale chips, or like the dried kale things.
Yeah,
outstanding.
Look, they're salty. They salt them and deep fat fry them. I mean, anything would
Yes, that's why I liked them. That's why they were so good. It was perfect. You could have fried rat's butt.
Dame Sam Menner. He likes the show. He's now, what is he doing here?
Hi, the shows have been tremendous. Keep them coming. Adam, there is a lingerie shoot going on in the house of dubious repute at the moment. Gee, the girls look great.
Okay.
And this is Dame Samantha, not
Dame Sam Menner, says Samantha Menner.
Well, where's my picture, Sam?
Yeah, where's the pictures?
Damn.
I don't care, actually. Eon, whatever you want to call it.
Ian?
Advertise Ian. $80 in Montreal, Quebec. Anonymous broke performing artist lesbian, $80.
Oh, you have a note?
Yeah, it's a long note. I think we'll save it for I'm going to keep it aside because
but she's still hot for you, right? She'll still convert for you?
She says, let me just read part of the note then. My pathetically small donation today does not entitle me to make any demands, blah, blah, blah. I share a few observations. Wants to share. I felt a few months ago when I revealed my crush on John that Adam seemed a little jealous.
Yes.
Don't worry, Adam. You are definitely growing on me. I can't quite say that I have a crush on you yet, but lately you have had quite a few good rants. Eloquent analysis is pretty attractive. One little tip, though, Adam. Keep it manly. When the delivery starts to get a little whiny, I start to lose that tingly feeling.
I'm so good at converting women to lesbians. This is a new one for me. Reverse action.
I'll work on that thing. Don't think the donation being low is correlation to the quality of the shows. The shows have been great. It just doesn't. Slaves are just broken lazy, but they will come around in the end. Take it from me, I'm really excellent at what I do, but because of the art I perform can only be appreciated if the audience makes the effort of attending to it. The vast majority of people just can't be bothered.
What kind of performance does the anonymous broke performing artist lesbian do?
She's never really explained it.
Well, maybe she can do that next time. All right. Onward.
Heather Simkin. We have a lot of women today, which I find very good. She's in Henley-on-Thames, Oxfordshire, UK, 77.
And she says, today I am marrying the gorgeous Charlie, who was responsible for hitting me in the mouth 3 years ago. So you are wholly responsible for showing us how much we have in common. Thank you. Karma would be awesome. Love, Heather. Yes, karma coming up in a minute. Send pictures.
Brian Pollock in Overland, Missouri.
Sure it's not Pollock?
Pollock? Or it might be Pollock. Pollock, P-O-L-A-K. 6970, which is 6969 with a penny. Kevin McLaughlin, Locust, North Carolina, 6969. Richard Chow in Fullerton, California, 6969. Cole Callistra, North Attleboro, Massachusetts, 6969. Mark Pugner, 6969.
Not that guy.
Yeah.
Douchebag. I see him all over the internet.
Yeah, he's a douchebag. Yeah. Corey Noonan, 6666, Los Angeles, California nuts. Apparently his girlfriend, who he's been hitting in the mouth. Brian Rogers, Kent, Connecticut, 6666. Brian Navarro, $62 from Los Angeles. Another one from Los Angeles. Alan Sibley, Muskegon, Michigan, 6110. Jeffrey Newell, 5678. Wyandotte, Michigan. A lot of Michigonians today. Michael Mayatico in Milton, Ontario, Canada. And he's got a birthday coming up or somebody's got a shout out.
Yep.
Erica Borden in Kentwood, Michigan. Thomas.
Erica said something interesting. I felt it was necessary to make a donation after hearing the word Stone Nation on the show.
Stone Nation.
So I guess the 5420. Oh, it's 5420. That's why it's
5420.
5420 Stone Nation. I think that's a new number. I like that.
I'm liking it. 5420 Stone Nation. I'll put it on the next newsletter.
Yep.
Thomas Dominikowski.
It says Slave Strong.
Slave Strong.
And he is from Poland.
He is from Poland.
Enjoy our military.
53, yeah, like the exercises. Take pictures. 5333. Sir Kevin Payne, Richmond, Virginia, 5069. Our only Virginian, I think.
Yeah.
John Haller, Missoula, Montana, 50. These are all $50 donors.
I am 70 now and need birthday karma. John Haller says. Wow. Well, welcome.
That means. Well, why don't you put him on the birthday list?
I don't know why he's not on there.
Well, it's kind of vague.
Well, I'll put him on. He needs birthday karma, so I'll put him on the birthday list.
Yeah, I guess that'll help.
Can't hurt.
Bradley Ledden, Fayetteville, Arkansas. These are all 50s. Macy, it's Stalowski. Stalowski. And it's not Macy, it's May something. I can't
no, we have it. It's May
something.
Yeah, we should figure this out, man.
We had it figured out. He just puts she. I don't even know. It's just Calgary, where all the money is. Eric Vogel, Franklin, Wisconsin. Jason Daniels, Dallas, Texas. These are 50. T. Abel, Bergfield, Berkshire, UK. Paul Webb, Twickenham, Middlesex, UK. Hey, good. Max Turnquist in Boxford, Massachusetts. Eric Veet.
Max is a poor college student who hasn't until now had much extra money to donate to the best podcast in the universe, having gotten 3 interviews out of 18 applications and 0 of 3 for interview successes. I could use some job karma. Also, I'll be flying internationally soon, so whatever karma that keeps you from getting 6-week cycle to be appreciated. Yes, we'll do some job and karma for everybody.
Eric Veet, Dublin, California. Conrado Gonzalez in Brownsville, Texas. Sir Dr. Sharkey, Jackson, Tennessee. Sir Brian Barrow, Black Knight, Wooten Bassett, UK, 50. Craig Porter, Niagara Falls, Slowly I Turned. And whoops, the spreadsheet just jumped out of the...
Martijn van Galen Last in Beneden Leeuwen. You should try and pronounce that one. That would get
Martijn van Galen Last in Beneden Leeuwen.
Onward.
Stacy St. Amand in Kingston, Ontario. Andrew Haverson. Why is this 62 in yellow? Oh, it's because that's where my cursor is. Gravenhurst, Ontario. Sorry. Michael Gates in Colorado Springs, Colorado. David Trotsky, or good old David Trotsky in Romeoville, Illinois. Benjamin Smith, we're here in Oakland, California, Oaktown. Matt Mulligan, Sparks, Nevada, and finally Kevin Hamilton. You
have a note for Matt Mulligan?
Do I have a note? I think I do, but I don't know. Let's see. Where's Matt's note? Hold on. I got a big giant note on a piece of paper that is so thick. It's hard to believe this is paper. Yeah, it's because there's a couple of douchebag call-outs in here. My coworker Dave and I just sat through a work safety presentation. Oh, this is a good story. Sat through a work safety presentation on active shooters.
Hey, what is the opposite of an active shooter?
Guy sitting down. I don't know. You having a hamburger?
What is that? We have a hamburger shooter.
You want to guess what video we watched? That's right. The ridiculous DHS active shooter video you two ripped apart over a year ago.
Yeah.
Of course, Dave and I had already seen the video thanks to No Agenda, so we were quite prepared to mock this piece of scare propaganda.
Cool.
For making Dave and I, thank you for making Dave and I aware, and we were prepared and have closed the DHS pamphlets they handed out, plus a check for $50.
Nice.
I will be applying this $50 to my knighthood and not Dave's. Please give my co-workers an inventory of shut up, slave, for not listening. Thanks, and keep up the great work. Okay.
Shut up, slave.
And then we go to, lastly, Kevin Hamilton in Plano, Texas, and finally, Bogdan Lachendro in Irvine, Texas. And those are our people who helped us giving $50 or more to show 610 and 611 combined.
Double credit and a reminder that we always read everything from our executive and associate executive producers. Everything over $50 is mentioned with the amount. It's called transparency, dude. And we, if you send a check into the P.O. box with a note, you have a high likelihood of that being read. We try to break for knights and dames, but we really can't read everybody's note. There's just too much show. Too much show, I tell you. But all donations, including our monthlies, we've got people sending in the Magic 42s, we've got 3333s, 1212s, 1111s, we've got all kinds of support coming in. Everything is highly appreciated. And here is a jobs karma for all, whether you have a job, need a job, or want to upgrade your job.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
I want to also mention that Tom Kilbride, one of our many listener novelists, has produced the No Agenda Saving America Shut Up Slaves novel.
Oh.
Which has the main characters, Adam and myself, and some other guy, CIA or something. Mm-hmm. And Mickey's in it. Oh. And
nice.
He makes the mistake of saying John Dvorak instead of John C. Dvorak.
The C stands for caps lock.
And he goes, and he's got Mickey's in there, Mimi's in there. We're all in this book. And
what's it called? Is it a giblet?
It's on. It's available on Amazon. He's going to give us proceeds. No Agenda, Saving America, Shut Up Slaves by Tom Kilbride.
Hold on a second.
And he sent a picture of himself and his wife, his lovely wife, or girlfriend Nancy. Let's see. Please see that Adam gets his copy.
Here it is. No Agenda, Saving America. It's $9 in paperback.
That's a good deal.
That's a great deal. Let's see. Is it also on Kindle? Hey, we're on the cover here with the... For more than 6 years, media assassins Crackpot Adam Curry and buzzkill John C. Dvorak have performed the twice-weekly podcast No Agenda Show, a discussion of current events or whatever they feel like talking about. From wine to chemtrails. We haven't talked about either very much lately. In this fictional account, they are recruited by the CIA to help foil an evil plot to create turmoil in the American population by taking down the internet's most popular site. The story has adventure, intrigue, foreign travel, spies, and assassinations. So shut up, slaves, and buy this book, if not today, in the morning. Cute.
Yeah.
I like it.
Well, he's a dialogue guy. He's got a lot of good dialogue.
Like it. Perfect.
All right.
Well, thank you very much. Also, reminder that we have a show on Sunday. And today, of course, we're going a little bit long because, value for value. We're giving you as much as we can. We got a lot of show to give. And we'd love to see your support for the upcoming program.
Dvorak.org/NA.
And before I get into the birthdays, I got another note from Kirby. And she sent me a picture, and I'm pretty sure I did this birthday shout out. I'm not sure, but just in case. She says, to John Adam, last Thursday, I happily made my first donation to your show after 1.5 years of douchebaggery. I was hoping my note would be good enough to get picked so that you guys would read it for my boyfriend's birthday. Typically, we do that, as it would be much cooler coming from y'all than from me in an email. However, my note didn't make the cut, even though I sent a picture. So I listened jealously as the funny notes of other donors were read on air, as I tried not to feel like the ugly duckling, which you're not, Kirby. Also, unfortunately, I had donated $69.69 Tuesday night, but heard the last bit of the past Sunday's show on Wednesday and found the 69 streak had been broken. As a result of my misfortune and due to the value for value concept of the show, I thought to propose two options. One, if you would please pick one or two. One, read the following on the air. I would like to make a donation to the best podcast in the universe on behalf of my wonderful boyfriend, Carter Pelham. He turned 26 years old on April 17th. About 6 months ago, I got him in the car where he couldn't get away and hit him in the mouth. Let's just say I didn't need to hit him again. Wink, wink. He absolutely loves it. And I'm so happy to have finally taken the plunge to officially support your show. Keep the good work. Option 2, say, Kirby Wallace, shut up, slave, and I will continue on as a happy donor, then try again next time. Well, we've done both of them. Here's what I'd like you to do.
What does it mean when you've done both?
Yeah, well, I'd want you to make sure you make your man happy, if you know what I'm talking about.
It's your birthday. Oh, no.
So there you go. Kirby Wallace says, happy birthday, 26 to Carter Pelham. We just did that. You don't want to call me a boner for not helping you out. Sir Ray Jacobson says, happy birthday to his nephew Peter Ninich and brother Ron Jacobson, 19 and 50 respectively on the 21st. Ben Smith's son turns 2 on April 21st. Michael Mayatico's son Marco turns 4 on the 24th. And John Haller is now 70, whatever that means. Happy birthday from your buddies here at the best podcast in the universe.
It's your birthday, yeah.
And we've got some knightings and some title changes. So we have Barry Hannah. I just want, so we will be knighting him because he's a Black Knight, but he is going straight into Baronhood. And we have Dame Sam Menner becomes a baronet. And Sir Hank becomes Baron of Kew Gardens and Forest Hills. And that's it. Then we have our regular knighting. So I'll just...
a lot.
Yeah. Hello.
I don't know if we can get through the music.
We'll try. Arthur Kessler, Michael Leary, Andrew Holcomb, anonymous from Aurora, Colorado, step forward along with Barry Hannah and kneel before the altar of the best podcast in the universe. Hereby I pronounce thee, all knights of the No Agenda Roundtable. Sir Arthur, Sir Michael of Hemlock, Sir Andrew Protector of the Bound Books, and Sir Anonymous of the ADF, along with our Black Knight, Barry Hannah. Wow, I did Whiskey and Wet Wipes, Kundalini Yoga and Jambo, Bad Science and Perky Breasts, Hookers and Blow, Rent Boys and Chardonnay. Or how about just some mutton and mead? Thank you all for your support of the best podcast in the universe. Go to noagendanation.com/rings. Make sure you get all your information in, and Eric the Shill will hook you up, so to speak. Did I get everything here? So, it was really great taking one show off, one whole show. But first I feel guilty.
You should.
Yeah, I feel super guilty. And then there's so much to catch up on,
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't think there's that much to catch up on. It's just like a continuum. You just jump back on. It's like surfing. You jump back on the next wave, and you're on your way. You don't, so you missed a wave.
There was some interesting Common Core stuff. Let me just see that I had. Oh yeah. So two things. One, Pearson. This is the now with the Common Core state standards. There's a ton of these non-profits, douchebag organizations. I really hate them. And they're the ones that take the money from Bill and Melinda Gates, and from the Dells, and everybody's going to benefit ultimately from the transhumanization of your children, and put them into the pipeline till they'll be working for Motorola and Chevron. And this is a slave training pipeline program, as they say themselves. Pearson is the publishing arm of this scam. And they, of course, every good company like the Coca-Cola company or like Nike or whatever, they all have a foundation next to the commercial organization, which is where they can do all their trickery. And the Pearson Charitable Foundation, the nonprofit arm of the educational publishing giant Pearson Inc., has agreed to pay a $7.7 million settlement to New York Attorney General Eric T. Schneiderman. I guess he gets a check himself, I don't know. After he determined the foundation had created Common Core products to generate tens of millions of dollars for its corporate sister. And so there's a couple things that are bothersome about this. One, there's just some random fine that who knows where that goes. Does it go to the Attorney General? I mean, does it go into the pot? Yeah, does someone go on vacation?
As I know, it goes to the general fund, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, well, but why? And why $7.7 million? And why isn't someone going to jail?
Well,
so what they had, the investigation by the Attorney General examined Pearson's efforts since 2010 to develop a line of classroom materials and tests built around Common Core, and they are not allowed to do this. But this is a continuing problem with this Common Core, as witnessed by the news report that brand names are featured prominently in the Common Core standardized English tests. You probably saw this news report. Brands including Barbie, iPod, Mug Root Beer from that's the Coca-Cola Corporation, Lifesavers, Nike showed up on the test. More than 1 million students in grades 3 through 8 took this month, leading to speculation it was some form of product placement. And I'm going to say yes. And the reason why I say yes is if you look into these corporations like the Coca-Cola Corporation and the Nike Corporation, they all have foundations who are big supporters of Common Core on the side. Now, they can say 1 million times that there's no connection, but everything points to there's an air gap when the Nike Foundation gives money to another nonprofit that is involved in Common Core, or any educational nonprofit which will have a relationship to another nonprofit of Common Core. It's a tit for tat. And I don't know what your feeling is, John, but there's a lot of outrage by parents about these brands being represented prominently in testing. What is your feeling?
Sounds like native advertising to me.
Even if it wasn't, does it belong in? In scholastic tests?
Of course not. But I think you can probably rationalize it in some way, shape, or form by saying things like, "Well, it's just common to the culture. Everybody knows Coca-Cola, and so there's no reason not to mention them just for some political reason."
Well, what they say is that the writers of these tests, they just write whatever, and they're not questioned on their choices. That doesn't make any sense to me.
No, doesn't make any sense at all.
Mm. And I got a great email, and I want you to go to scrap.noagendanotes.com. Adam, my students began their second round of state testing today. It's a computer-based test that's developed and sold by Pearson. These are the douchebags who just paid that fine. I have attached...
Let me go. Scrap what?
I'll tell you in a moment. I have attached a piece of scrap paper that Pearson provides for the test. Go to scrap.noagendanotes.com. Each piece of scrap paper has a barcode on it, and we need to count out the number of sheets we hand out to ensure we get the same number back. If a student writes anything on the sheet, this is scrap paper, even a couple of scratch lines, we need to mail it back to Pearson. Each of them has a barcode.
I see the barcode.
So they're tracked. So this...
What kind of scrap paper is this?
Well, someone is paying for this. So they're barcoding
CMAS scratch paper.
Yeah.
It says scratch paper, and then at the bottom there's a barcode.
Yeah.
And it says something else which is blurry. I can't read.
Well, but the point is that this publishing company, who just had their nonprofit sister organization pay a humongous fine for cheating on the whole deal, is charging someone, presumably the states, money for scrap paper. Barcoded scrap paper that has to be sent back.
What?
Yeah.
And I'm reading it myself. He says, if a student writes anything on the sheet, even a couple of scratch lines, we need to mail it back to Pearson so they can properly dispose of it.
Yeah. This is
what is this?
Common Core, baby. Common Core.
Common Core, baby.
It is the scam that is Common Core. Wyclef Jean's Haiti charity has now finally closed down after $16 million in donations. Most of it went to him and his family members. Douchebag.
Douchebag.
Disgusting.
Well, what'd you expect?
I just want to point it out. New York Times reports, Haiti, housing effort said to lag. A post-earthquake housing program in Haiti, financed by USAID, has delivered only a quarter of the planned number of houses at nearly twice the estimated cost. Really?
Huh. Wow.
How much money was raised again for Haiti?
We've lost track.
Wasn't
billions
it
and billions?
Well, the housing program was part of reconstruction efforts after Haiti endured a devastating earthquake. The audit found that the development agency had severely underestimated the cost and the complexity of building homes in Haiti. Or do you mean how much will be gouged by a-holes who were on the government nipple? The agency had planned to build as many as 4,000 new houses by December 2012 and provide 11,000 sites where new houses could be built. But only 900 new houses have been completed and fewer than 6,000 sites have been prepared for construction. Meanwhile, the budget jumped from $90 million to $90 million from $55 million. So they're nickel and diming us in reporting, thanks New York Times, about $90 million. Yeah, where's the other $6 billion? Where did that go?
You know where it went.
Yeah, into the Clinton Library, I presume.
Yeah, or somewhere like that. I have a couple of offbeat clips. Well, of course, now we do know we have to keep up with the gassing. Another gas job was done in Syria by some guys. They blame the government, of course, so we can do something about it. We're not going to do anything. It was chlorine gas, which is not even one of the stockpiled gases.
No, and chlorine doesn't even kill you.
Well, yeah, it does. In high concentrations kills you easy.
Well, if you drink it.
No. Yeah, chlorine gas is not good.
Oh. You sure? Can I quote you on that?
Yes, you can quote me on that. Chlorine gas is not good. Play this one. This is a clip that I believe we were trying to deconstruct this at the other house, and it's basically a slap in the face to Californians in their drought. Play Portland P.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we were going to play the gas thing. All right, Portland P.
Portland city officials are having to flush millions of gallons of treated reservoir water after a 19-year-old man allegedly relieved himself in a non-traditional location. It happened around 1 o'clock Wednesday morning as 3 teens snuck into Portland's Reservoir 5, which holds some of the city's drinking water. This security footage reportedly shows one of the guys leaning against the fence and presumably urinating. Those 3 men were detained shortly after they were seen in the security footage, and hours later, Portland city officials decided to take the 50 million gallon reservoir offline and flush 38 million gallons. The Portland Water Bureau says there's little risk to the public's health, but Bureau Administrator David Schaff says our customers have an expectation that their water is not deliberately contaminated. We have the ability to meet that expectation. This kind of incident has happened once before. The city flushed 8 million gallons of water in 2011 after a 21-year-old man urinated in another reservoir.
You know, chlorine gas is not good.
Well, chlorine will help take the pee out of it. But, you know, all the birds are crapping in this water and all the rest of it going on, and they dumped the water. This is just a slap in the face to California, I'm telling you. So, 50 million, who cares?
Well, I don't understand it. Why is it a slap in the face to California?
Because we don't have any water, and they're dumping it down the drain because they don't care.
Wasn't there
a guy peed in the water? Well, let's just dump 38 million gallons.
Because he peed in it. Wasn't there a plan? Now, I'm just it popped in my head. It wasn't in the 60s. Wasn't there some plan that the environmentalists stopped to bring water down from Canada, or maybe I guess it was from way up in northern Canada?
Down from Oregon, but they'd be filled with pee. Yeah, you guys can have our water.
We're pissing in your water, man. Wasn't there some plan in the 60s? Am I spacing on that?
There probably was, and somebody put the kibosh on it for one reason or another because it wasn't carrying oil. Here's a story that we didn't get in the United States. We got to play this. This is the bonus for tax man story that I've never heard this story. Maybe I just missed it.
Yeah, I heard
this. Bonus for tax.
and hence come with higher interest rates. Americable will use the money to finance its purchase of the mobile network SFR.
What?
And finally, Stephen, a bonus for tax collectors who might not deserve it in the United States.
This is thanks to a audit of America's Internal Revenue Service, which found that it's paying $1 million in bonuses to some 1,100 staff who themselves are in fact behind on their tax payments. Now, on top of that, it paid out another $1.8 million to workers who are facing disciplinary action for a whole range of issues, including misusing government credit cards for travel and fraudulently claiming unemployment benefits. Now, the government inspector who carried out this report say the bonuses were inconsistent, unsurprisingly, with the IRS mission, which is to collect taxes, of course. But on the whole, they're not the worst offenders. Just 1.1% of workers in this department of the American government are behind on their taxes. Overall, federal workers come in at about 3%, but that's well behind the general population, who about 8% of them are behind on their tax bill. So not the worst offenders, but perhaps a little bit inappropriate.
You know, I saw this story. I left it by the wayside. I have not looked into it. Of course, the coincidence of it being released right around tax days, is obvious. What was the point?
This came out yesterday.
Well, it's not that far after tax day.
Yeah, but you're already too late.
Yeah, but what's the point? Like, we don't know.
Story. I told you it's a random clip.
Like, we don't know that our government is not cheating. Everybody's cheating. Everybody cheats when they can. They'll all cheat.
Not Elizabeth Warren.
Yeah, she's the biggest cheater of them all.
She's an American Indian. You can't say that about her.
You know what? You know what I think she does? When she checks into a hotel, she pees in the sink. That's the kind of person she is.
That's not an image I want to.
She's a sink peer. I can tell. Look, I know a sink peer when I see one.
She's
too lazy.
You have to hop up on the sink to do it. Seems like a lot of work.
Hey, so in the tech news, I just wanted. Yeah, what?
Nothing.
Oh, I thought you went.
No, I didn't do anything. It's the sound. It must have been feedback.
Oh, it's a new mic. So the chairman of the FCC has said that he is going to open up make some changes to regulation. Now, there is no publication yet by the FCC. There has been no publication. Okay, this is just hearsay. What has been said, and there's no actual document you can read.
Can I stop you for a second and give you a halt this activity, which you do to me, so I'm going to do it to you this time. You are starting to drop in the word okay as you tell me stuff.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I shall resume my sink peeing.
Yes, please go.
Well, how do I say okay? When do I say that?
You're saying, yeah. So they never said anything. They haven't sent a document up, okay?
And that's very bad.
Okay.
Well, thank you for calling me.
Okay.
Oh, thank you for calling me on that. That's bad.
Yeah.
Thank you.
These little habits we have to break ourselves. Both of us. I tried to do the other one. This, that, and the other.
It's very important.
Gone.
Oh, this, that, and the other thing.
This, that, and the other is bad. It's bad.
I totally agree. So is another one.
Well, that's a toughie.
It's a very hard one to break. What you will read everywhere now is, this is going to ruin net neutrality.
Yeah.
And it is unacceptable. Unacceptable for any serious news organization. And I will call out the New York Times.
Again?
Yes. This is 2014. When you are reporting a story on internet, the functioning of the internet, it is now, in my book, no longer acceptable that you use the superhighway analogy of fast lanes and toll booths. Stop this. This is not reporting. And if you see a tech reporter talking about it this way, turn them off, denounce them.
I denounce thee for the use of toll booths as an analogy to the internet.
Yes. This is no longer acceptable. And also...
When was it ever?
In the very beginning, I think maybe. But when we are now in an age where the technology of the internet and how it works and how the internet itself routes around or can route around issues of packet slowdown, packet segregation. It happens all the time, by the way. It happens all the time. Transit and peering. And this is very complicated stuff, how the internet has grown and how it works. But here's, I wanted to read this because I thought it was actually beautiful. See if I can find this. It was actually hilarious. Let's see. Oh, man.
It's on pins and needles. We're on pins and needles.
Now I feel bad. Where is it? Well, you've confused me. Well, I think it was the New York Times where they were saying that this deal is so bad.
You think it was? Now you went on a rant against the Times, and now you just think it was the New York Times?
No, I know it was the New York Times.
Okay.
I'm just trying to find the actual article.
Maybe it was re-edited.
No, be quiet now. I'm trying to find this. Oh man, this.
Well, while you're looking for that, let's play the clip "Dope in Denmark."
No, I don't want to move away from this. I do not. What people are I can paraphrase it. What people are complaining about, is that the cost of. Okay, so the idea is that Disney and Netflix will pay more. This is the way it's being presented, although there's no documentation, no evidence, and no technical explanation of what they're talking about. Will pay more to get faster delivery onto certain networks like Time Warner, which would soon be one big internet provider, I guess. And that the cost of these services will be passed on to the consumer, making movies from Disney and Netflix more expensive, and it would make crappy startups with bullcrap, useless information. It might make it harder for them to deliver high-quality content on these networks. I believe neither of which are true. However, if it is true, that's great. You mean, if we've created the internet, the largest invention the most important invention of our lifetime, and people are worried about the cost of Disney and Netflix, you deserve to be shot, slave. Who cares?
Well, first of all, as a topic, it is a bogus topic because none of this is going on. The Netflix deal, which did happen. And I talked to the CEO of Roku about this, Anthony Wood, specifically, because he's one of the hot shots at Netflix, and he knows what's going on there. And he says the whole thing, this payment and all this thing that was the way it was reported was bull crap. Yeah. I've talked about this before. Mm-hmm. It was bull crap. It was just a peering agreement that they wanted to peer differently, and it was going to cost them money to go through this other route, and that's where the payment was all about.
Yes,
and that was it. It was just a peering deal.
Yes.
It was blown out of proportions by the media.
Yes, well,
and these crazy analogies.
Specifically, the technology media, and I'm sick and tired of them. I'm sick and tired.
Well, you can thank yourself. The entire tech media, I've said this before.
Thank me.
It's been corrupted. Yeah, been corrupted. It's nobody's writing, and all the good tech writers are gone. They're all doing something else. I'm doing this show.
Like this podcast,
I'm doing this podcast, and they're all. It's just now I write casually for PC Magazine once a week. And
now, where's get around to where it's my fault?
Go watch Leo's show when I'm not there, and you'll get to see what the general.
Well, how is that my fault?
You haven't bitched and moaned.
I'm bitching and moaning now.
You were bitching and moaning at the TSA, but you don't care about me.
And I love you. I am so sick and tired of everyone's net neutrality. You don't know what net neutrality is. A bullcrap marketing term, and it's just bullcrap. The internet knows how to route around these issues, and you're not going to. There's not going to be like you won't be able to get no agenda. You will definitely be able to get no agenda.
Here's the question on my mind about net neutrality. When it first cropped up, Andrew Orlowski, who writes for the Register, was the only guy out there writing, and the Register still has good writers that write about tech. And he was the first guy who said this is a bogus issue, and it doesn't make any sense when you really think about it. And everyone was throwing bricks at him.
Yeah.
And what the argument doesn't make any sense goes as thus. Here's the net neutrality the way you want it, if you want to boil it down. I have a Comcast connection. I can pay extra for the business Comcast connection and get, instead of my 30 megabytes down or 30 megabits or whatever it is, I can get 100 if I pay more. Isn't that right there? The net neutrality argument in a nutshell? I pay more, I get faster speeds? How come that should be illegal by the net neutrality concept?
Net neutrality.
I should be able to get all speeds for the same price.
Well, yes, you're correct. Net neutrality is if anything, it is being used exactly for that, to sell you more. But what annoys me is that it has nothing to do with the actual way the internet works. Just because you have 30 megabits, or if you have a gigabit, doesn't mean that you're going to get everything faster. That you're always going to get something from the other side of the world on a server somewhere in a faster manner. It is It is not true. It is not how the internet works.
Not how any network works.
But also, I've heard Leo's argument about this. He says, bandwidth should be one price, and I should not have to pay for more that I use. I'm like, you don't understand how it works. Your connection goes through a router. And a router, you're talking the big Cisco machines, or there's a number of different brands. When the ports fill up, and that's really what these guys are selling is port fees. But when the ports fill up, and when these routers are big computers, you have to buy a new router because everyone's sucking on the pipe and watching Netflix. Someone has to pay for that. So this has nothing to do with, they're going to only favor Disney movies. No. Anyone who says that has no idea how the internet works. Now, here's what I'm excited about. No one is talking about the real news today that came from the FCC. And the FCC is now proposing, this comes out at the same time, I have not seen a single news article about this. They finally have proposed the creation of the new Citizens Broadband Radio Service, which will run at 3.5 gigahertz. Now, I bet you haven't even heard about this.
No.
And the reason why...
I think I have, but I didn't.
Well, I stumbled on it because I went to try and find anything about this so-called net neutrality outrage. Whoa, let's turn my Twitter icon black! You watch, it's going to happen, morons. And I found this notice that the FCC has proposed 3.5 gigahertz, which will be similar to Part 15, which means you can sell transceivers in the 3.5 gigahertz frequency range with the same type of licensing as Wi-Fi, i.e., you have to have a test to make sure that your device is okay, and then you can just sell it. What is cool about 3.5 gigahertz? That is essentially the WiMAX frequency. And this will give a total throughput, based on my calculation as a licensed radio amateur professional, contradiction in terms, 550 megabits per second. And this, with WiMAX distance, if you have the proper antenna, this is very exciting to me. And this will allow for true mesh networks across cities, states, etc. Now, will not be available in a lot of the eastern and western seaboard regions because it's shared space with the Navy. But for instance, in Texas, we will be able to route around a lot of bullcrap and create our own networks. And the name says it, Citizens Band Broadband Radio Service. And it is essentially the same frequency as WiMAX. This is exciting to me.
Why?
Because you get to route... Wow. Would I love to connect directly to, let's see, maybe who's here? We have the biggest pipe available in the country. It all comes into Texas. We have huge data centers. Why would we even deal with Time Warner? We can mesh a network straight to every home in Austin.
Well, I wish you luck.
Well, if we really run into trouble and we only have one provider of internet, I think it's highly.
It'd be nice to have an alternative.
Texas already has a huge amateur mesh network running on Linksys boxes that runs. It really runs all over Texas now.
And what's it? It's just it's all voice though, right?
No, it's data. It's all data. You connect to it with your computer, and you can see any device that's connected to the mesh, but also it's connected to the internet at several points.
What kind of speed are we talking about?
Oh, it's tremendous speed.
What's wrong with using that?
Oh, well, that is in a different band. That's amateur radio, but essentially you can do the same thing with this.
Okay.
But this will be the 3.5 gigahertz. It'll be a range that is permitted for anybody to use. I find that exciting. I'm not so worried about this so-called net neutrality, change your Twitter icon to black, because we have all of this takes care of itself. The one thing that cannot be stopped is the network. And that's my technology rant for today. So that when you go and read some bull crap in PC Magazine by Jane Kelly Doody, whatever her name is, or Tech News Today or Tonight or whatever, just bear in mind the people talking have even I struggle to understand how BGP really works and how these systems and peering and transit really works. But if someone's giving you the fast lane toll booth analogy, turn it off and send them a nasty email. Someone has to give the information.
I'm
John.
liking the toll booth analogy more and more.
You should write a column.
I should take all the cornball cliches like that.
Oh, there you go.
And put together a nice column that has them all.
Okay, here we go. So the toll booth, what else can we do? Toll booth, the fast lane, the
lane, diamond lane,
HOV. So if you have more than 3 people in your household, you get to use the fast service, the fast lane. You'll be we need the AAA.
How about the passing lane? What can we do with it? What's a passing lane do? Passing lane would be like a boost. You get a extra some when you buy one of these services from a cloud supplier, and then you get inundated with requests, and that they give you more bandwidth, and they give you a little small fee.
Well,
how about speed checked by aircraft? Is there anything that we can do with that?
Yeah, well, that's the Facebook and Google bull crap. Wi-Fi in the sky. Wi-Fi in the sky. Well, there you go. I've come up with another one.
The bypass route.
The short.
Los Angeles, there's a bunch of these roads.
The shortcut.
The
potholes.
Lane.
Potholes.
Potholes.
Potholes in the information superhighway.
An express lane. I think the express lane where you pass up a couple of express lane. In fact, I wondered, express lane would be like instead of bouncing.
Chat room helping. The Time Warner Turnpike. Good one, chat room. Very good. Yeah, this is nice. QoS is the passing lane, quality of service.
Oh, yeah, good one.
Pull over on the shoulder. Pull over on the shoulder of the superhighway fast lane.
How about, they said no shoulder.
Digital, soft shoulder.
Soft shoulder and no shoulder.
Digital roadkill. We haven't had that one in a while. Commuter lane if more than 3 people are watching Netflix. Well,
it's hard to prove. You get pulled over for that.
No, we probably could pull a couple of articles from 1994. What is a VPN? A VPN is a tunnel.
It's a tunnel.
Oh, bridge and tunnel people.
Yeah, well, there's tunnels that you have to go through to get from here to there. So that's that's an obvious analogy.
Yeah. Well, but if you could say bridge and tunnel users of the superhighway. Packet loss would be
flat tire.
Flat tire, yeah.
No, you're just running out of gas. You can run out of gas.
The Tesla of the superhighway. Now we got to work on it.
Yeah. No, you can write some corny thing here. This would be great.
BBC slipped up, and one of our producers caught this report. The tag at the end of this story was left off of each subsequent report.
A group of MPs has said that British commanders were guilty of complacency when guarding Camp Bastion in Afghanistan in 2012, when 2 American servicemen were shot dead by the Taliban. The Defence Select Committee said that the senior officers had to bear a degree of responsibility for the breach of the base's perimeter, as guard towers were unmanned and poppy cultivation was allowed right up to the fence.
Gee! How does that work?
So they left that tag part about the poppy culture off the subsequent reports?
Yeah, they took that off, yep.
So it just says the guard towers were unmanned, period.
Yeah, period.
Wow.
Yeah, I love it. Hey, thanks everybody for letting us know that you did have a chicken pox party as you were growing up with a kid. Hopefully you got some of those emails, or did that?
I got a couple of them, and it was like, way past. I'm still skeptical. I think there's just in the minority. Yeah, maybe there were a few. It was long after I was like a decade after anything that I experienced when I was a kid. So I'm still sticking to my guns on that.
I'm done. I have 2 drone clips if you're interested.
No drones today.
We did kill 55. I mean, here's how it works. Oh, really? You think you can parade around, you Taliban, you AQ in the peninsula? You think you can put a YouTube video out there? Well, take that. They killed 50 guys.
With a drone?
Yeah. In Yemen. Now, they always say that there's 50, that they only drone high-value targets.
Yeah.
I went to the Rewards for Justice website.
Yeah, those guys, all the high-value targets are on that website.
You can't find 50.
Well?
Who did they kill?
I don't know. Maybe some noodle boys. I have no idea.
Everyone, they killed the bomb maker. Well, they're sending the DNA off to see if it was the bomb maker.
Oh, the bomb maker. That guy's been killed 2 or 3 times from what I can tell. I have a good clip that if you want to play something. This is just part of a shtick that was on, again, ABC. And I'm coming to the realization that native advertising can sometimes take we've talked about this a lot, where they plug, in the case of this, the Zohydro. We've talked about this before. They plug this thing in an awkward way by telling you how dangerous it is.
Right.
And this ran on 2 different shows. One was, I think it was on Good Morning America and the Nightly News. It was the exact same report, the exact same guy. And I'm now beginning to think, because this was so long, and they brought the expert in. My clip is only the beginning of it. They brought the expert in, and he went on, and the next guy, and they show pictures of the pills, and they tell you how dangerous. I'm now beginning to think, and this is just something that's in the back of my mind, because of my change in attitude about native advertising, the Taco Bell one in particular.
You mean you're starting to like it?
No, I'm beginning to think that they are promoting the drugs, but I think that it's possible that these are actually native advertisings that are paid for by the drug companies. In other words, and it would go like this. We want to pay you to
Wait a minute. Hello, ABC ad department.
Yeah, this is I'm with Zoloft.
Hey, Zoloft. Yeah, all right.
Actually, Zohydro is what our new product is, and this is really we want to.
That Zoloft stuff was no good. You got anything new?
Zohydro. We want to pay for.
Yes.
Just listen to me out.
Hold on a second. I have some avails for you in the. I've got in the news.
Well, wait, let me hear you. Hear this.
I got the A block. What you got? You got an idea? Okay, you got an idea. I'm listening.
This is different than what you're used to hearing.
I'm listening.
Okay. We want to pay for the reporting on this particular drug we're bringing out, because the drug is so dangerous that we will pay to get the word out about how dangerous it is. It's kind of a reverse native advertising. It's not quite the same, because we're not just paying you to do some fluff.
Right.
This is a dangerous product, and we want to make sure it stays on the market. But we want to get these disclaimers out there, so we'll pay for. We also have a guide sheet, and we also have a bunch of points. Talking points that need to be in here. I don't think that you guys.
Do you have any experts you can bring in?
We have one, and we got a bunch of B-roll.
You got B-roll, you got experts.
We can use your expert because he's worked with us before. He's a good man.
Who do you want? Who do you want to work on this?
We have his name.
We have our medical person. Would that be good?
Yeah, we got
Listen,
that guy.
He needs a limo and he needs hair and makeup for every location. Is it a location shoot?
The cost is no object.
Is it a location shoot?
No. This is all we went in studio. We went.
In studio. Oh, okay. Well, then he just needs a car from his house. We have the people for hair and makeup here.
Yeah, we got, like I said, cost is no object. Top dollar.
Right. Okay. So I do have to price this, obviously at coverage value. So that would be So the share we have a 15 share. You're talking about the primetime slot, yeah?
Oh yeah.
15 share, and we have to add a billboard fee to that because we're not going to do it, but it would be in place of a billboard fee. And of course, the host endorsement for doing the actual piece. That'll be.
Now that's the interesting point because there's no host endorsement involved here. There's a news story, and the host is not endorsing it. He's actually telling people not to use it.
But do you want the host asking difficult questions, or do you want them just to follow your script? That is a SAG job, SAG-AFTRA. The rate for that is $1,500 per day. So we do have to do a full day rate for that.
That's not a problem.
Okay. All right. So your total will be $175,000 for the first run. If we repeat at night, we'll give you a deal, and we'll do that for $35,000.
Okay, I'll get back to my people. That sounds reasonable.
Okay, all right. Thanks for calling. And now, the result.
Medical news and concern about a new painkiller that is 10 times more potent than Vicodin and is said that it can kill with just 2 pills. Zohydro is set to hit the market early this month, but addiction experts are worried that it could trigger a huge jump in overdoses and deaths. They're urging the FDA to reconsider its approval. So let's bring Chief Health and Medical Editor Dr. Richard Besser in for more of this. Can you tell us more about this drug? And is it really as potent as these experts are warning?
Hey. Did you see the piece? Did you see the piece?
Yeah.
How are sales?
It looks good. Things look good. We're actually, we got another piece that we want to do on how people are going to kind of maybe transition to heroin.
Oh.
And we're getting that subsidized by the government, by the U.S. government. One of the agencies, one of the 3-letter agencies, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, of course, we know.
That's going to help us out on that. And so I'm going to refer you to something else for future. Any future.
I'm happy to give you 5% for any referral of any new advertisers.
Well, I think you're going to want to give these guys a bigger discount than that. That's all I can say right now. I'm done with this campaign. You're going to have to talk to them. I'll send the name. My secretary will send the name to your secretary, and we'll take care of it.
Okay. Hi, is this Arnold Schwarzenegger's agent? Hello? Is this Arnold's agent?
Hi, Arnold's agent.
Hey, Arnold's agent. Listen, we've got this campaign going on, but it's a Showtime thing, and it's all about climate change. So, do you think the governor could, the governator? Do you call him governator when you talk to him? Yeah. Do you think we could get him to do like a little piece for this Years of Living Dangerously? I mean, we'll profile him beautifully. We'll package it up. We'll have him, hanging out with forest firefighters, and he can promote his electric car. He has a Tesla, doesn't he? Doesn't he have one of the original Teslas? So he can promote that. How much for like a 1-minute segment?
1 minute? Hold on a second. And for this sort of thing, he's going to want $50,000.
50? Wow, that's quite a bargain.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's a good deal. It's something he cares about.
And is that a buyout? We don't know residuals?
Oh, no. Always residual.
But it's not a union gig. It's Showtime.
We have our own contract. You have to sign it. The residuals are 10%.
Okay.
Every time it's shown, it's $5,000.
Right. And can we get him to do at least one of the catchphrases from one of his movies? Does he do
another $10,000?
Can he do an "I'll be back"? No, wait. No, that's too hokey. Can he do something like he'll terminate something, like terminate climate change or something? Is that 10,000? You said
15 for that one.
Really? That's more than "I'll be back"?
I'll be back has been changed. The rate's now 15 for that, too. They're all 15.
All right, thank you.
As governor, I've seen the tremendous changes over the last few years. The amount of land that we have lost, the trees that we've lost, the homes that we've lost, lives that have been lost. And it is due to the large extent to global warming.
The only thing is that people don't pay that much attention to it yet, because I think the environmental community has actually done a terrible job of selling that aspect of it. Right now we are going still through an economic crisis, and people say, well, jobs is the most important thing, the economy is the most important thing. So what we have to do is we have to teach people, if you are environmentally friendly, you can actually save money, you can create jobs, you can create a green economy, you can have all of those things that you're actually shooting for. Each of you has an enormous opportunity to fight climate change. And I promise you, I will not stop fighting, I will not stop campaigning around the world, and I will not give up until this crusade is successful. Join me. Together, we can terminate climate change.
Wow! He really delivered that line.
Yeah, we got a bill here for you.
If you think it's any different in Hollywood than what we just did, then you've never been in Hollywood.
I'm adding it up.
All right, Ovitz. Michael Ovitz, back from the dead. Thank you for listening for the past 12 hours. It was almost one of those. It was almost that 12-hour show, man. We can't be doing this. Too much value, I tell you.
This next show is 2 hours and 45 minutes max, and I want a timer on it.
Okay. All right. I'll remind you, because,
we ran over on the pre-vacation show, and then we did the vacation show, and then we did this show. We've actually probably produced more content than we would if we hadn't gone on vacation.
Yeah, you're right. Wow. Well, then, just to make it all perfect, I'm going to play the social media song as an end-of-show clip.
I have the whole thing. It was
No, that is not necessary. All right, everybody, we'll be back Sunday. More show than you can handle. Please support us, Dvorak.org/NA. I salute you. TSA. Thank you very much. Here in the capital of the Drone Star State. In the morning, everybody, I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where I'm starting my chapter of the Elizabeth Warren for President office, I'm John C. Dvorak.
We'll be back on Sunday right here on No Agenda.
Look it up, it's science.
Hey now, y'all. Can we just get real? Do we really care about our fans, or is this just another deal? Said another way, that we lost our way? Social's about the people, remember? We are people. Do we really need another like, fan, or share? Do we need another post to show up everywhere? I hope as we scatter that we never forget that our posts live forever, even when we go to bed.
So connect with me, let's have some fun, let's show the world how this gets done. Let's get social.
Social
media. Let's get social. With social media. We can spread the word and grow our reach and find our fans in their newsfeed. Let's get social. Let's get social. Social
media. Give it up, Mary McCoy. Woo!
Welcome back to Friday Briefings. I'm sorry that August is over.
Oh, and this one time at band camp,
I don't have anything at the top today.
I stuck a flute in my pussy.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Fabulous. I'm Joe Biden, and thank you for taking the time to listen.
The best podcast in the universe.
Dvorak.org/NA